Yeah, this is case number 127 on the calendar in the matter of Fennell versus Campbell.
Thank you, Bertie.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
All right, Miss Fennell, this is your old boyfriend.
Correct.
This is, according to your complaint, probably Carlos.
That's Carlos, correct.
New boyfriend.
Old boyfriend also.
Old boyfriend.
Correct.
You don't stand still too long. Who is this?
This is my fiance, Tiffany.
She's just here for moral support?
Mm-hmm.
Because she brought the old boyfriend, you brought the Tiffany.
Right.
Got it. Miss Fennell, according to your complaint, this gentleman, with whom you had a relationship for a while, became annoyed when he found out that you were with Carlos, and he vandalized your car. Mr. Campbell says he was, in fact, annoyed, but he didn't do any damage to your car. When were you and Mr. Campbell involved in a relationship?
We started, actually I met him June of 2003.
When did you and Mr. Campbell terminate your relationship?
November of 2003.
And when did this incident happen with your car?
In March of 2004.
Well, tell me what happened in March of 2004.
Carlos had come to visit me at Ohio University.
Carlos?
Carlos had come to visit
How
me.
long had you been dating Carlos?
I started dating him in December of 2003, very soon after ending the relationship with Clifton. So he had come to visit me at the university, and we just come in from a movie. It may have been about 1:30 in the morning. This is March 13th. I hear this banging on my door, and so, you know, it was kind of unusual.
Were you in a dorm room?
Yes, I am in a dorm room, or I was then. And so it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so, you know, I'm not expecting anybody. So I go to the peephole, and I see that it's him. Like, we've had history in our relationships of just different violence and him threatening me and stuff like that. And so prior to him coming, he had been trying to call me, and I wasn't answering the phone. So he had been leaving messages on my voicemail, just threatening.
I mean, he just decided to come out of the blue? He hadn't been in touch with him, really? Since November of 2003, all of a sudden in March of 2004, he shows up?
We've been in contact sporadically, not very much. He was just calling. We kept in contact via email.
But you hadn't been dating?
We hadn't been dating.
Anyway, he comes, it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, bangs at the door. You don't answer the door. What happens next?
Carlos is there. Carlos wants to answer the door, and he and Cliff had just a few words. It wasn't a big episode like I thought it would be. And afterwards, he walked.
Did you say anything to Mr. Campbell?
No, I didn't.
Okay. What happened next?
Once he left the dorm room, I went to my dorm window because I know what he's capable of. And so when I looked out the window, I saw him kicking my car and walking away.
Did you call the police?
I did.
That same day?
That same evening.
Do you have a police report?
I do.
I see it, please.
There's some pictures.
What kind of sneakers are you wearing?
Lugs.
Lugs?
Yes.
Is that who makes them, Lugs?
Yes.
Is that what you usually wear?
Yes.
Huh. All right, Mr. Campbell, let me hear what you have to say, sir.
For one, we were not just boyfriend, girlfriend. That was my fiance. We had got engaged on March 9th.
Tell me about that, Mr. Campbell.
Well, basically, I had came to Ohio University on March 9th, I remember, because that's my little brother's birthday. I had proposed to Tamar. She had said yes.
Did you give her a ring?
Yes.
Does she still have the ring, or did you take it back?
No, I didn't take it back. I'm not sure if she still has it or not.
What kind of ring did you buy her?
Gold ring with, like, I don't know how many carats, diamonds in it.
How much did you pay for it?
It was like $1,700.
And you didn't ask for it back?
No.
Did he give you a ring?
He gave me a ring, but...
Remember when?
I don't believe it was March 9th. I think it was the week before then, the last week in February. He did give me a ring.
So that you were still not only communicating with Mr. Campbell on the internet by email, but just a few weeks before, you had actually seen him.
We weren't seeing each other.
You had actually seen him, I said.
I had seen him, yes.
How long did you stay when you came to visit her, Mr. Campbell?
I had spent the night with her March 9th, and I left on March 10th.
So when you came back on March 13th, because she wasn't answering her phone, and
Well, she did answer the phone.
Oh, she did?
One time.
And what did she say?
I heard a guy in the back, which I presume was probably whatever his name is.
Carlos.
Carlos. She just wasn't acting herself. Normally, she's real uppity and giddy when we were talking on the phone. And it sounded like she was trying to hide something and was rushing me off the phone.
So you became suspicious. And you got in the car, and how long a drive is it to the school?
It's about 3.5 to 4 hours.
And while you were driving, did you try to call her again?
Yes.
How many times?
Probably 4 or 5.
So by the time you got there, you were really pretty annoyed.
I was...
Just so far you've been honest with me. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So far you've been together, and you've been honest.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That doesn't mean you're going to get away with denting her car. I want you to trust me on this, Mr. Campbell. But I like the fact that you've been honest. So
Right.
I'm not going to stomp on your head. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Very good. Now, second ex-boyfriend answers the door, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
What do you do?
First, I'm just dumbfounded. It's like, this is my fiance, and this dude is answering the door trying to look like he was all tough or something.
So what do you think was going on there? You think he was delivering a vacuum cleaner?
Not at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I know you're a telemarketer, but only I get the last word. You know the people that say, goodbye, don't call me again? That's me.
And later today,
Listen to me. You cannot unilaterally modify a contract. You know what that means? No. Didn't think you did.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tamara Fennell claims ex-fiancé Clifton Campbell kicked her car after discovering she had a new boyfriend. Clifton is denying the charge.
So what did you do?
Well, basically, me and him had a few words, and then I was just like, F it, y'all can have each other, and I left.
But when you left, you kicked her car.
No, I didn't.
Well, maybe you were just so angry you don't remember, Mr.
No,
Campbell.
maybe he was also angry.
He was.
That was her
No.
boyfriend.
No. You know why, sir? Because the two of them called the police together immediately after you left. And the police went downstairs and looked at her car, which was very dirty. But the one thing that they did find were fresh sneaker prints on the car. Reeboks and dents where the footprint went into the door. Now, quite frankly, I can understand you being really annoyed. She clearly doesn't make up her mind well, but she's entitled to do that. She's entitled to play the field if she wants to. Not entitled to going around breaking people's hearts. That's really unkind.
I would like to explain if I can.
Go ahead.
Okay. One thing that he did say was that was my boyfriend, and Cliff was aware that Carlos and I were dating.
She told me it was some dumb dude she get money from. That's all she told me about
Oh
him.
no, I never
Just a
said
second.
that.
Okay. So,
When we broke up, it was on these crazy terms. I had been through just a lot of things with him, as far as him threatening my life, different situations where he held me at knife point, just a lot of violent situations where I felt like if I was going to ever have a situation that was going to be calm with Cliff, I pretty much had to tell him what he wanted to hear.
She's lying.
she's lying, Mr. Campbell. She's lying because she didn't tell me all of this stuff when it was her turn. And she says a lot of things in here, that she witnessed you stab somebody during spring break. She witnessed you burn down somebody's home, which is why she knew that you were violent and she wasn't going to subject herself to that. She didn't play it nicely.
I don't think I'll be out right now if I stab somebody and burn down their home.
Listen to me. Mr. Campbell, I think that you were pretty fortunate that you have a new fiancé. You get along pretty well together?
We get along great.
What do you do for a living, sir?
Right now, telemarketing.
Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
You planning on getting married?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. Miss Fennell, what year car do you have?
A 94.
1994 what?
Honda Accord EX.
And did you get an estimate on taking out the dents?
I did.
Let me take a look at the picture. I see a dent near a door. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can pull out the dents in that car. The paint isn't off.
The paint's off.
Car's 10 years old. Is it just off in that spot?
Excuse
Just
me,
in that-
Judge.
it's only
Yeah.
in that spot.
She told me one night around Christmas that she had got drunk and got in a wreck and dented her car up.
Listen to me. The police noted the damage on March 13th, sir. I'm not believing her. I'm saying the police noted the damage.
I understand that.
Oh,
but if she
good.
was messing with two different guys at the time, how do I know it was in the third or fourth that got off and did that
Just
to
a
her
second.
car?
You don't have to. Only I have to know, Mr. Campbell. And there may have been somebody else that gave her car a good clop. But so did you, on your way out.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm telling you that I believe that you did. You had the opportunity, you
didn't.
had the inclination, and you certainly, Mr. Campbell, had the motive.
But I didn't.
Don't say it again. There's only one person who gets the last word, and that's me. Do you understand? Only me. I know you're a telemarketer, but only I get the last word. You know the people that say, goodbye, don't call me again? That's me.
Tamara Fennell claims ex-fiancé Clifton Campbell kicked her car after discovering she had a new boyfriend. Clifton is denying the charge.
You get a ding doctor to pull out the dings that he did on your now almost 12-year-old car. Not for $1,700, which is more than the car is worth, but for $500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all. Don't play with people's hearts, Miss Fennell. Sometimes you're going to get burned. This time it was just your car. Next time it may be another part of you. That's
Parties
all.
are excused. You may step out.
I believe it was when she heard that I was engaged to a new female, she just went on ahead and decided to try her best to do something to get back at me.
Oh, no. He wasn't even with anybody else at that time. Like he said, he had just proposed to me. So, no, I wasn't upset at all.
I wouldn't mind getting the ring back. That's a lot of money.
He told me to pawn it. It definitely wasn't a $1,700 ring. I think it was something that he might have stole from his grandmother's jewelry box.
I believe she played games to the fullest.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lampa versus Fout. Step forward.
23-year-old Mindy Lampa is suing her former friend, 23-year-old Gary Fout, for an unpaid loan. Mindy claims Gary promised to repay the loan with his tax refund, but never did.
Miss Lampa, Mr. Fout was a friend of yours, and according to what I've read, you've known him for about 4 years.
Correct.
Are you an accountant by trade?
No.
But you do your own income tax and you do income tax for other people?
Correct.
This past year, Mr. Fout asked you to do his taxes, according to your complaint.
Correct.
And you agreed for a small fee.
Right.
So far, are we correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were entitled to a refund.
Yes, ma'am.
Of how much, sir?
$28.60 or something like that.
Is that right?
$28.81.
And you wanted that refund right away.
Yeah.
And what did you tell him, Miss Lampa?
I told him that if he agreed to give me the refund, give me the money back once the refund was posted, that I would give him the loan as long as he agreed to it. He said he would, so I wrote him the check.
So far, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you do his taxes?
February 13th, the week of the February 13th.
And when did you give him the check?
I wrote him the check on February 16th.
And when did you cash the check, Mr. Fout?
It was deposited maybe this next day.
Yeah. You did get the refund back.
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't give her the money.
No.
And the reason that you didn't give her the money is because, A, you say that she told your mother, and she shouldn't have done that.
Correct.
And B, she doesn't need the money anyway. Shh. Please.
That wasn't the case, no.
Well, that's what you say in your answer.
Well, the reason was she had started calling me about a
But
week.
just a second. I just want to make sure I had both of your reasons, both of your defenses.
Okay.
One, you say that the plaintiff told your mother.
Correct.
And the second thing was, I don't know why she is so hard up for this money. She lives expense-free with my father-in-law.
Correct.
So, my first question is, how do you know this idiot?
He used to be a coworker with me.
Okay. You got 10 seconds to explain to me why she isn't entitled to this judgment.
She called me about a week after she gave me the check, saying, I want the money, I want the money. I hadn't had the refund yet.
When did you get the refund?
It was about...
That's very easy to figure out, sir.
It was 7 or 8 weeks afterwards, I believe.
I do have a copy of the
I'd like
status.
to see it.
It was posted about 6 weeks after.
March 11th. So, it's February 17th. So it was less than a month later that you got the check. I'm speaking.
Sorry.
It was less than a month later.
Okay.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you got the check, March 11th, why didn't you give her the money?
She had called me about a week after she gave me the check, her check, saying I need it. Told her it hadn't deposited yet. She said she was going to call my mother and tell her to give it to her, and then I would pay her back. I told her, I said, if you call my mother, I'm not paying you, period. I don't want my mother involved. This is between me and you. In the story. If you call her, I'm not paying.
You can't make, listen to me. You cannot unilaterally modify a contract. You know what that means? No, didn't think you did. You can't say to her, if you do thus and such, I'm not going to pay you back unless she agrees to it.
She did agree.
Now, she agreed.
Yes, she
Just
did.
a second. Are you telling me, Mr. Fout, that when you said to her, if you call my mother, I'm not going to pay you back, she said to you, fine. If I call your mother, you won't have to pay me back? Is that what you're telling me?
Not in that many words. What she said was, that's fine, then I will not call her.
I never said that.
She did, created problems with me and my mother.
That's too bad.
Well, the problem was, it was...
Your Honor, I waited a week.
You know, she, in her world, her adopted father is her everything, and he jumps when she tells her to. My mother and me don't do that, and I did not want her to cause problems between me and my mother, which she did, when I would see my mother maybe every 2 weeks. Cause problems because she had to run like a child and tell her.
Mr. Fout, there's only one child in this room. Unfortunately, I have a sense that this young lady, who's your girlfriend, right?
Wife.
Oy.
After 6 months of dating.
Shh. Relax.
Excuse you.
You've been with how many people in her life?
Don't speak to her.
Baby.
You want to speak to her? You speak to her outside when you're
ma'am.
handing her your
Yes.
check. But in here, you only talk to me.
Yes, ma'am.
One child in here, and that's a child that doesn't pay their debts. Somebody who is a friend of yours. A friend of yours.
We weren't friends at the time.
Listen to me, Mr. Fout.
Yes, ma'am.
If you weren't friendly with her at the time, why do you think a stranger would say to you, you want your money now so that you can have instant gratification? I'll give you the money, interest-free, because I have so much money, it's not going to make any difference to me. Do you know anybody like that?
No.
No, of course not. I mean, did you actually think you were going to come here today and walk away unscathed?
Well, no.
You acted like a child.
No, the problem
She chose to marry a child. That's her problem.
No,
when you owe somebody money, when you make a contract, you pay your bills, Mr. Fout.
And then
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,881.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties, case number 19 on the calendar in the matter of Hackett versus Shell. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Hackett, it is your claim that Mr. Shell assaulted you with a bat. You were escorting home a friend of yours, a woman. Is that this young lady?
Yes, ma'am.
This used to be her boyfriend.
Still is.
But at the time you were escorting her home, she had had a protective order against him.
Right.
Or she was afraid of him, and she asked you to take her home. And according to you, Mr. Shell showed up with a bat and out of the blue assaulted you quite badly. You were seriously injured, and you had a conversation with Mr. Shell's father. Is he here today, Mr. Shell?
No, ma'am.
According to you, that conversation was, please don't press charges against my son because he's already got enough trouble with the law at this moment. And if you were to press charges, he probably would go to prison. You negotiated a settlement with him, which he did not follow through with. So you are now suing him for $5,000 for this assault. Mr. Shell says that he has finally resolved all of his other problems with the criminal justice system. And he is now free to fight these baseless charges. Okay? You there. Name, please.
Salwa Akaway.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
How long have you and Mr. Shell been together?
For about a year and a half.
On August 18th, 2004, were you and Mr. Shell together or apart?
We were together, but we were fighting at the moment.
Had you ever, Miss Akaway, sought in a court a protective order against Mr. Shell? Is not an answer.
Okay. No, it didn't actually go through, but I
didn't ask you whether it went through. I said, have you ever sought a protective order against Mr. Shell?
No, I didn't.
You never went to a police station, a court, and requested a protective order?
Not requested a protective order.
You want to stop playing games with me, Miss Akaway, and tell me what you did?
I'm not playing games.
Listen to me very carefully. I've been married 28 years. If somebody said to me, did you ever seek a protective order against your husband, I would say no.
I just said no, no.
No, you didn't. You said, I never actually went through with requesting a protective order. It's what you said to me, Miss Akaway. There's a difference. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. Now, you want to tell me what steps you took to consider a protective order against Mr. Shell? Answer the question.
I didn't take any steps. I mean, I didn't go anywhere or went to the police or anything.
Could you stand up? Good. Now, there was a reason that Mr. Hackett was taking you home on the evening of August 18th. You want to tell me what that was, Miss Akaway?
Yes. I mean, I went out to the bar or whatever, and I just asked him to escort me home because I was afraid.
Afraid of what?
Just afraid of just going home.
Mr. Hackett, she's having a brain trauma right now. She's very hard for her to get it together. Mr. Hackett, would you like, please, sir,
Yes.
to tell me the conversation that you had with Miss Akaway with regard to taking her home that evening?
Yes, she came up to me and she was very distressed. She said that she was afraid that her ex-boyfriend or boyfriend, I don't know, had just gotten released from jail and was harassing her, and she was scared. And that they.
Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, actually it is.
Miss Akaway, don't play with me. I'm giving you fair warning. Don't play with me. Now, so she was afraid. The boyfriend was just getting out of jail?
Yes.
What were you in jail for, sir?
Ma'am, I had been out of jail for quite a while at that
Good.
point.
What had you been out of jail for a long time about?
I had been got into prison for assault on a public servant.
What public servant did you assault?
Police officer, ma'am.
Shh, shh. Listen, I don't need any help from you. Now, you assaulted a police officer.
Yes, ma'am, at age 17.
And how long were you incarcerated?
I was incarcerated for 5 years and 2 months, flat.
Must have injured the police officer pretty badly. What did you assault the police officer with?
With my foot.
With your foot?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the only time you'd been incarcerated, Mr. Shell?
No, ma'am.
Subsequent to getting out of jail, were you incarcerated again?
Since prison?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
For assault.
Who?
On Sellowack Way.
When?
That would have been in January of
What date was it, Miss Agaway?
It was last year, January 8th, I think.
So when I asked you, Miss Agaway, whether or not you would ever sought a protective order against him, were you granted a protective order?
No.
So when he was arrested for assault and incarcerated for the assault, I assume that you were injured.
Yes, I was.
How were you injured?
I just had bruises all over my body. Like, well, mainly my arms.
But you forgave him?
Yes, I guess you can say that.
Hmm?
Yes, yes.
Who are you?
Corey Shell, Garrett's brother.
Good. Now you can sit down for a minute.
Okay, thanks.
So you were escorting Miss Agaway home because she was afraid of Mr. Shell, who had just gotten out of prison and had been incarcerated subsequent to that for assaulting her, which is a very good reason to ask somebody to escort her home. And what happened, Mr. Hackett?
I drove in the car behind her car, and when we arrived at the house, she asked me to walk her to the door. So I helped her out of her car, helped her to the door, and as we were walking up the steps, she screamed, and as I turned around and I got clubbed. I fell on the ground. There was blood everywhere. I was dizzy. He was screaming, "Oh, you're..." Can I say what?
You can tell me anything. At
Oh.
my age, I've heard it all.
I mean, he was saying the equivalent of, "Oh, you're my girl. You're doing this. You're doing that." You know, and as he was, you know, it's kind of a blur of, you know, I was on the ground. Salwa came over to, you know, she was screaming and trying to get him off me. He threw her on the ground, pushed her away. And as I got up, I was very dazed. There was blood all in my eyes. And he was kind of circling me. You know, I've never thrown a punch in my life. And he was circling me, just popping me. So at some point, while I was on the ground, her brother came out of the door and asked what the hell was going on. By that time, Garrett took off. I mean, he went that way towards where Salwa was. I was laying on the ground.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I approached, she ran inside the house. Him and I had some verbal. He came at me, and I won.
So you had your Y chromosome tested.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
John Hackett says he was escorting home a female friend when he was attacked by her boyfriend, Garrett Schell. John says Garrett beat him with a baseball bat.
Now, you have your photographs, Mr. Schell?
No, ma'am.
You, over here. Bird, show her these pictures, would you please? Yes, sir.
I was just going to say that those pictures were taken at the hospital by the crime scene unit, and I had gone home and taken a shower and changed clothes.
Okay.
So that's after the shower.
You've not seen these pictures, sir, have you?
No.
Did you have any idea what he looked like after this attack?
I heard. I have not seen the pictures.
Well, just hand them over to him. Sure. Now, according to what I read, at some point you were contacted by Mr. Schell's father.
Yes.
And even though this is hearsay, the whole idea of the conversation was that he would pay you $40,000 if you would not prosecute his son, because his son was already on parole for another assault. I assume that that assault that you were on parole for, sir, was the assault against this young lady here?
No, ma'am.
Was that on the 5-year term for the assault on the police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
So you had a split sentence, you were paroled, you'd served 2/3 of your time?
I had 2 concurrent sentences, and
Why did you have 2 concurrent sentences, Mr. Schell?
I had another sentence for a check that was a day for day. In Texas, you have state jail felonies.
So what you're telling me, you had a prior case involving a check forgery?
A theft by check, yes, ma'am.
So you had a couple of years left to go in the event that you had a problem.
After I made parole, I had to
You had to stay clean.
Yes, ma'am.
But you were arrested again for the assault on the lovely Miss Agaway over here, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And they didn't violate you on your original parole when you were arrested for assaulting Miss Agaway.
No, ma'am.
I find that curious. Did you have a trial with regard to the assault on Miss Agaway?
Yes, ma'am.
And she testified?
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified that he assaulted you?
Yes, I did.
And they didn't believe you?
They found him guilty on 1 charge.
They did. And what was that charge, Miss Agaway?
It was just for the assault, but there was 3 charges on there.
The lovely Miss Agaway says that you were found guilty on one of those charges, Mr. Schell.
Ma'am, I was not found guilty on an assault. I was found guilty on a domestic dispute.
After a trial?
After a 2-day trial. And I beat the cases.
No, you didn't beat them, sir. You were found guilty of domestic dispute. According to her, one of the charges of assault, according to you, was a domestic dispute. There is no such law on the books, by the way, Mr. Schell, in any jurisdiction that I'm familiar with, that says a domestic dispute is a crime. There is assault, there is harassment, there's battery. Do you understand? But a domestic dispute could be, you know, you forgot to change the roll of toilet paper. That could be a domestic dispute, too.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's not actionable in any court. Do you understand?
I understand that, ma'am.
Good. So you weren't found guilty of a domestic dispute.
Ma'am, I was charged with 2 Class A misdemeanor assaults and a Class C ticket, domestic violence.
Right. Domestic violence is a crime. Domestic dispute is not.
Yes, ma'am. Class C.
So you were found guilty of domestic violence.
Verbal. Not physical, verbal.
Well, but according to the lovely Miss Agaway, she had bruises all over her body. She must have fallen down over herself several times, Mr. Schell. So if you say you didn't touch her, that means she's lying.
I mean, she's lying.
You picked him. Twice.
Wow.
You want to tell me, madam, about when Mr. Hackett walked you home and how he got to look like he looked in those pictures?
He walked me home because I did tell him that I was scared.
Of him?
Of him.
Right.
Okay. And then, so Garrett came out of nowhere and then basically, you know, fought Johnny. I mean...
No.
I mean, Johnny didn't fight back at all.
What did he hit him with?
His fists. There was no weapons there. Not that I saw, because I ran in the house because I was so scared for Johnny that I ran into the house and I called my brother, and then my brother is the one who called 911. I mean, I told Johnny that he had to go to the hospital. I mean, I was like crying.
Good. Now, so my question is, you were appearing on that side.
Actually, I wasn't on anybody's side. I was just here to tell the story. I wasn't on anybody's side.
She's neutral.
She's not neutral. She can't be neutral. She witnessed you assaulting Mr. Hackett, who she says did not even fight back. That's what you just said, right?
Right. I'm just here
Now,
to tell the truth.
Good.
That's
well,
it.
that's what you just did. Sort of reluctantly, but you did. Sit down. Now I'm up to you, sir, because your answer says, now I am free to fight these false charges, and that's exactly what I plan to do. I'm ready.
I have one question for you, though.
I don't answer questions.
Okay.
I don't answer questions. I've heard his version, and I've heard her version. Now I want your version of what happened on the evening of August 18th.
Can I clear the beginning of what brought this about?
Absolutely not. I don't give a rat's behind what brought it about, sir. What I care about is he's walking her up the path, and you're there.
Yes, ma'am.
Pick it up from there.
Well, actually, we were into an argument, and I was with her earlier that night.
I don't care earlier that night.
Later on that night, I already had a friend call me and told me that she was with him at the bar.
I don't care.
What I'm telling you is, she was with her best friend's boyfriend, asks him to escort her home, knowing that I'm going to be there. I'm not knowing about him. He's not knowing about me. So, pretty much, when we got there, she probably would have known about what I'm going to see, and I was distressed about it. No, I did not start the fight. I approached, she ran inside the house, and at that point, this is when him and I had some verbal, and he came at me, and I won.
Have you had your Y chromosome tested?
Ma'am,
Listen to me very carefully, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your girlfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
You think she loves you?
Yes, ma'am.
She took you back after you beat her up? Listen to me very carefully, Mr. Shell.
Yes, ma'am.
She loves you.
Yes, ma'am.
Live in the same place?
Yes, ma'am.
You live together. So you slept together last night?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you love each other?
Yes, ma'am.
She told me a second ago that you beat him up and he didn't fight back.
I know what she told you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I understand.
So
that.
is she a liar?
Yes, ma'am, she's a liar.
And so she lied about that, and she lied about you beating her up when you were arrested for assault. Do you understand where we're going here, sir? Mm-hmm. He's big trouble. You understand that?
I do.
Big trouble. You have children?
I do have a daughter.
Who does she live with?
She lives with she lives with me.
Who does she live with?
She lives with me.
And him?
We don't live together. We used to. We don't anymore.
You just told me that you slept together last night.
Yeah, because we had the same flight. That's the only reason why.
Well, I fly with a lot of people. I don't sleep with them. Miss Hathaway, I don't know how much of what you're telling me is the truth or not. All I can tell you is that there are only so far two innocent people, and that's Mr. Hackett over here and your child. Now, I don't know if your child lives with you, lives with your mother, lives with the child's father, but I can tell you that the child should not be living with you because your judgment is so askew and so warped that you should really not be rearing a child. That's the judgment of somebody who's been in the business for 30 years. As far as your case is concerned, Mr. Hackett, I don't know why you would sell yourself short for $40,000. I would have liked to have seen this man prosecuted and go back to prison, not only on this assault, but violated on his parole and gone back to serve the 2 years he's got on his old assault case on a police officer. There are people in this world that are sociopaths. They don't understand how it feels to live in a community of other civilized people. Sometimes it's because they are short of stature and they feel as if they have to be aggressive. That sometimes happens. Whatever it is, you shouldn't have sold yourself short. Mr. Shell, I don't know whether you're able to be rehabilitated. Quite frankly, I doubt it.
Ma'am, you haven't even let me present my case at all.
Listen to me, sir. You told me that you got there about the same time she did. You fought with him. Listen to me, quiet. You fought with him and you won. That's what you said. You said this was a fight and you won. That's your defense. I don't believe you.
Ma'am.
It's as clear as that. And it's my job to make a decision by the required quantum of proof, close your mouth, which is more proof than not who I believe. And quite frankly, Mr. Schell, it isn't even close. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000.
You didn't even let me explain my
Bodies are accused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 5 on the calendar in the matter of Collins versus Daniel. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Collins, you and Mr. Daniel were boyfriend and girlfriend. It is your claim that after a night of both of you drinking, Mr. Daniel assaulted you, caused you severe injuries. You were treated in a hospital. You want him to pay your medical bills,
Yes,
and then
ma'am.
some. Mr. Daniel said that you were both pretty drunk, that you were as aggressive as he was. He has no recollection of assaulting you to the extent that you claim that you were assaulted, and that you even saw each other subsequently. Is that
Yes,
right,
Your
sir?
Honor.
How long were the two of you dating?
We had been dating probably for about a month at the time when the incident happened.
You have a drinking problem?
No, ma'am.
You have a drinking problem?
No, ma'am.
Well, it seemed to me that if two people get loaded to the extent that they can't remember what's happening, they have a problem.
I remember everything that happened, Your Honor.
I remember everything that happened, Your Honor.
Do you?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Daniel?
Mechanic.
And you?
I'm a nurse.
Okay, Ms. Collins, let's hear about the assault. It happened in February of
Yes, ma'am,
2005?
February 12th.
Go ahead, let me hear.
We had been going out for about a month, and we went out with some of my friends out to a couple of clubs. We both had been drinking, and then we closed the clubs and went back to his house. My intentions were just to go there and go to sleep because him and I had been arguing and been having some problems. I found out that he was married. He told me he had been married and then came out slowly telling me he's still married, in the process of getting a divorce. Then found out that they weren't in the process of getting any kind of divorce. So when we went back to his house, he was making advances towards me, to, do something sexual, and that's not what I wanted.
Your Honor,
so
she's lying.
Shh, you're going to have a chance later.
So
I don't want you to look down. I want you to look at me. I want to look at your eyes, Ms. Collins. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Everything at this point was fine up until when he started doing that.
Well, what did you go back to his house for if you were drinking and he was drinking?
Because up until this point, there hadn't been any problems.
Well, you closed the clubs. It must have been very late.
Yeah, him and I had
Don't
been...
look down. You look at me.
Him and I had been hanging out.
Listen to me.
And
you just told me you closed the clubs, which means it was very late.
Yes, ma'am.
And the two of you had been drinking. You went to more than one club.
Right.
So then why, if you didn't want to engage in any sort of intimate relationship, would you go back to his house rather than go back to your house?
Because there was no way for me to get back to my house because both of us had been drinking.
Well, how did you get to his house?
He drove. He drove. I mean, my friend's house was only a block away from his house, so, I mean, he drove.
Well, when you say you closed the clubs,
Yes.
you closed the clubs and went to your friend's house?
Yes, who lives not too far
just
from
a second.
the club.
Well, you didn't tell me that. You said you closed the clubs and went to his house. So you closed the clubs and went to your friend's house, who lives a block
Right.
away from him.
Right.
Why didn't you stay at your friend's house? Is not an answer.
Because we were going to spend the night together. I mean,
Who
I didn't...
was going to spend the night together?
Him and I were going to spend the night at his
Well, what
house.
were you going to do? Play canasta?
Just go to sleep. We were just going to go to sleep, Your Honor.
Why couldn't you go to sleep at your friend's house?
It's a party house. There was too many people there. I don't crash at party houses. I wanted to stay with who I consider my boyfriend.
Okay, I'm just getting there. All right, so now you drive to his house.
Yes.
Keep going.
Okay, so then he started coming on to me. I just wanted to go to sleep. Your Honor. And when I tried to leave, he blocked the door.
Where were you going?
I was going to call someone to come pick me up. I just wanted to leave the house and go out front, use my cell phone, call somebody to come pick me up. And he would not let me leave. He blocked the door. He pushed me down. I got up. He pushed me back down. And then he pushed me over towards the bed. Every single time when I got up, he kept pushing me down. And then that progressed. He hit me. He smacked me first. And then he hit me in the side of my head. And I tried to fight back. And then he just ended up choking me, telling me to go to sleep and that I wasn't going anywhere and cursing at me and stuff like that. And that was the last thing I remember, him telling me to go to sleep and that I wasn't going anywhere and that this is what it felt like to be strangled.
What do you mean? It was the last thing you remember. What is that? I don't understand. It's the last thing you remember.
Well, he was choking me, and then when I woke up, it was about 7 o'clock in the morning.
So he choked you, you passed out, and then you woke up how many hours later?
It was probably about 4.5 hours later.
Okay, when you woke up, what did you do?
I woke him up and told him to take me to my car, and that I was thinking about pressing charges against him. And he told me that it was my fault, and I didn't say anything else to him.
So where did you go?
He dropped me off at my friend's house. And
A block away?
Yes.
Couldn't you walk there?
It's probably a little bit further than a block. It's in the same neighborhood.
Took you to your friend's house, and what happened next?
I went inside. I didn't say anything to my friends because I know if I would have told them, they probably would have.
Don't speculate what they would have done. Keep going.
Well, I didn't say anything, and I left.
Where did you go?
I went home and spoke to a couple family members of mine, and I explained to them what happened, and they said that I should go to the hospital. I didn't want to go to the hospital because I didn't have insurance.
What were you going to the hospital for?
Because the side of my head was severely swollen, and I had blood coming out of the side of my ear, and my jaw wasn't meeting.
You mean and your friends didn't say anything to you when you went into the house?
I kind of hid my face a little bit.
Okay. You have photographs?
I don't have any pictures because at the time...
the answer is you don't have any photographs?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a hospital report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Okay. Now, after this incident happened, you went out with him again.
Yes. He called me, and he seemed very genuinely sorry. He was concerned with what condition I was in when I went to the hospital and everything, and I told him I ended up having to going. I was seriously hurt.
Well, they found that you had a facial bruise. They did a CAT scan. They found nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
But the main thrust of this bill is the $2,500 CAT scan. That's what bloated it to $3,600.
Yes.
Okay. So you told him that you had this bruise, and he said...
He said that he would pay for all of it. I told him that I would feel better about him sitting in jail, and he said that I would be doing the right thing if that was the route that I took, and that he would do anything he could to make it up to me after he got out.
Fine. So when did you go out with him again?
A month later.
Why?
Because the guy that I knew was very sweet, and he treated me really good, and I just thought that he had an alcohol problem that changed him into somebody else.
Well, you told me about 5 minutes ago that you had been arguing with him a lot because you found that he lied to you, that he was married, that he wasn't in the process of getting a divorce, and he's a drunk, and he has blackouts or he doesn't know what he's doing, and he gets violent. All this doesn't sound to me like worthy of a second date.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I always love it when they bury themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Shooting fish in a barrel.
Shooting fish in a barrel. All you got to do is let him talk.
And later today...
What do you have that suggests that he took your car?
I specifically remember him wearing a hat, and I found this hat in the car, which is the hat that he was wearing that night.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Emily Collins says ex-boyfriend Demetris Daniel beat her up during a night of heavy drinking.
My question to you is, you just said to me that the person that you knew, even though he lied to you about being married, he lied to you about getting a divorce, he assaulted you to the extent you had to go to the emergency room. He was a sweet guy, and you felt that it was only because of the alcohol that changed his personality. That's pretty much what you just testified to. Mm-hmm. Then why in the world would a relatively intelligent woman go out with him drinking again?
We went out to dinner, and he had only had like 1 or 2 drinks while we were sitting there having dinner.
And what about you?
Same.
You drank together.
We had
All
wine
right.
with dinner.
How about a Diet Coke? What?
What? I don't know.
Yeah, that probably would have been the right
Give me a
thing to
break.
do.
I
You're
know.
right. You're right.
I know.
Your
They
Honor.
keep me in business, so I shouldn't complain. Now I'm up to you.
The truth of the matter.
You know me. I love the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you don't tell me the truth, you're going to be eating your shoes.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, the whole night started. We was at Mojo's. This was the club we closed. When we got in the car driving back to her friend's house, we were supposed to get in her car, but we couldn't find her keys from the incident that happened at the club with her throwing my leather coat on the floor twice to lose her keys.
Get to your house.
Okay. We get to my house. Okay. She's passed out in the car. That's why she doesn't remember how we got to my house. The point is, I took her.
Up. Go ahead.
She's passed out in the back seat. All right. Reason we didn't take her car, couldn't find her keys. I pick her up. I told her inside the house. I put her in the bed. I take her shoes off. I go to cut the light off. She's up and angry, yelling, screaming, pushing me. And I'm just looking at her like, where's this coming from? I wasn't to the fact that I was drunk enough not to drive. I wasn't drunk enough not to handle the situation. The fact of the matter was she was the aggressor. She started the whole aggression. She started the whole violence of slapping, being very aggressive. It went from shoving me to pushing her, holding her, pushing her back on the bed, telling her, not do this, you're drunk, lay down, go to sleep, sleep it off, that's all it is, you're drunk. She gets back up, she slaps me. I slap her back, she punched me, I punch her back, and we go back into the whole argument of going back and forth again and again, to the fact that I hold her down on the bed and tell her and beg and plead with her not to keep being aggressive. Just lay down, go to sleep, sleep it off.
Okay.
To that point, we woke up in the morning after.
All right. So let me dissect for you, Mr. Daniel, what you have just told me. What you have just told me was that you were not so drunk that you couldn't drive.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
So you were sober enough to withstand the sobriety test.
Yes, Your Honor.
Fine. And she was so drunk that she was passed out in back of the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then you take her home, and
My
she
house.
starts to act aggressive.
Yes, Your Honor.
She punches you, you punch her back.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the person who was so drunk, this is what you tell me, that she didn't know what was going on. You, on the other hand, are sober.
Yes, Your Honor.
I always love it when they bury themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Shooting fish in a barrel.
Shooting fish in a barrel. All you got to do is let them talk. They make up some cock and bull story, right?
Yep.
That they say, well, this is going to work. She was the aggressor. I could drive because I was okay, right? You can't assault somebody when they're so drunk that they don't know what's going on, Mr. Daniel.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand where we're going now?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're the sober one. She's drunk. That's according to you. You're the defendant.
Yes, Your Honor.
When she punched you, you should have gotten up, should have gone downstairs, should have gotten in your car, go to a friend's house and say, listen, I'm not going to stay with this lady. She's out of it. She's assaultive. She's nuts. This is the way she gets when she's drunk. I don't want to have anything to do with her. I'm certainly not going to hit her because she doesn't know what she's doing.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not saying I didn't make a mistake, Your Honor.
Good. Mistakes cost.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,600. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I would describe it as her friends telling me that night that since she's drinking and she's being aggressive, that she's Diablo.
That's just something my friends say joking around. It's not even like that.
And I'm like, okay, that's the devil.
It's just my little playful nickname between my friends.
And it turned out to be that way.
The whole situation is he drank more than he could handle, and that's all it comes down to.
I learned from my mistakes.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Damon versus Ressa, step forward, please.
21-year-old bartender Amber Damon is suing her former friend, 21-year-old subcontractor Samuel Ressa, for crashing her car, forcing her to drop out of fashion school.
According to what I read in your complaint, on the evening of January 26, 2005, you were all out drinking. You had a car. You drove to a bar. You were drinking and had too much to drink. A lot of other people were drinking, too. Somebody wanted to go home. Somebody by the name of Jason. Who's Jason? Raise your hand. You still drink, Jason?
Yes.
Yeah. How did I know that? How did I know that? Jason wanted to go home. You told the defendant, could you take him home? And you gave the defendant your car keys to take Jason home.
He'd already had the car keys.
Whatever. He didn't steal the car keys from you. You gave him the keys. He took Jason home, came back to the bar.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's the last time you saw your car. The car was subsequently found. It was wrecked a little bit, and it was taken to impound. And you couldn't get your books and stuff for school out of the trunk, so that you couldn't go to school, and you ended up losing tuition because you ended up backing out of school for that semester. A whole series of events that you believe should be visited on Mr. Reese's doorstep, right?
Correct.
Because he didn't take good care of the car.
Yes.
Was the car a used car?
Yes.
Was it insured?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get insurance money for it?
No, because the towing place sold it without the lien notice, so they're going to end up having to pay for it.
So you're off the hook with regard to the car?
Yes.
So all you're suing him for is for the trauma that you incurred as a result of missing school because you couldn't get to your books that were inside the car?
Yes. There's more to it than that, though.
Let's hear it fast.
Well, we would go out every Wednesday, and I'd had a couple beers, so I didn't feel comfortable driving. And I thought I was being responsible by asking him to take Jason over to our house, and then he came back safe and sound. And later on, I didn't plan on leaving, so I didn't ask for my keys back or anything. And he had wanted to leave, but I just assumed that he was getting a ride or whatever, and he apparently took my car.
It's not what he says. He says he walked home. It was a couple of blocks away.
Yes, Your Honor.
I have stuff, maybe not proving, but it really looks like he took my car.
Well, what do you have that suggests that he took your car later?
Well, I was going to fashion design school, so I remember what people wear. And I specifically remember him wearing a hat when he came back after dropping Jason off. And I found this hat in the car, which is the hat that he was wearing that night.
Miss Damon, I want you to listen to me very carefully, my dear. There is no question in my mind that under the scenario that you gave me, that you had given him the keys to the car, and that was the last time you saw the car, and the car had in fact been in an accident. I think I would have been prepared, despite the fact that Mr. Risa says I walked home, to say, it was your responsibility to safeguard this car. Based upon what I read in the papers, the car was found with the keys in the car, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Therefore, if somebody found the keys, they had to be very smart to find the keys and say, I think I want to go try the ignitions of all the cars, and I'm going to go check all the cars and see if any of this fits. So I think I would have been able to say, with a fair degree of certainty, that the defendant was responsible for your car, but you have no out-of-pocket expenses for your car. You want him to pay for your school tuition. And I'm telling you, Miss Damon, you have to be more resourceful, my dear. There are methods that you can use to get your books out of the trunk of the car so that you can study and go to school without dropping out of school. That's not his fault.
There was no way that I could get them because they were no longer there. And there was also, the police department was throwing me around too because it wasn't registered in my name yet because I hadn't even made a payment on it. I just bought in the car, not even a month before that. So they were telling me I wasn't even going to be able to look at it.
Well, you managed to get the hat. Did you go to your teachers and say, listen, I need a little time, I have to get new books?
We were almost to midterms and all of the projects led off of each other. So there was no way that I could make them up, and they told me I had to withdraw for that semester.
That's not Mr. Reese's fault, Ms. Damon. I can't legitimately find that your dropping out of school was the proximate cause of Mr. Reese's actions. It doesn't work that way. You have to take a certain amount of responsibility for taking your car, drinking, giving the keys to somebody else. That's partially your responsibility. I would have said Mr. Reese was responsible if he had any out-of-pocket expenses for the car, but not for your school tuition. Sorry, case is dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Carmichael, this is your mother.
Yes.
How old are you?
19.
Had you always lived with your mother?
Yes.
Until when?
Last September, the end of last September.
According to your complaint, your mother owes you $5,000. $2,000 of that represents money that she allegedly really stole from you because she cashed in some savings bonds that had been purchased for you by your great-grandmother.
Yes.
She cashed in those bonds and used the money.
Yes.
And in addition, you say that you loaned your mother $3,000 in order to secure the services of an attorney. She was going through a divorce or separation from her husband. Shortly thereafter, she reconciled with him and she never gave you the money back. Your mother says she used the money as her grandmother would have wanted her to use it, the money from your bonds, and that the $3,000 that she acknowledges that you gave her for an attorney was a gift. That's your defense. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. When did Kristen's great-grandmother purchase these bonds for her?
She began purchasing them in 1990.
Did she purchase them for any of her other great-grandchildren?
Yes.
How many?
The 2 other children.
Your 2 other children?
Mm-hmm.
How old are those children?
Amanda, that's sitting there.
Is how old?
She's 23, and my youngest is 11.
When did you cash in Kristen's bonds, and why?
It was right after my grandmother had passed away. She passed away on March the 9th, 2000.
And why did you cash in Kristen's bonds?
Because at the time that my grandmother passed away, her estate went into probate and they froze all the accounts. I did not have the funds to pay for her funeral situation.
2000 is when your grandmother died. How many children benefited from her estate, ultimately?
I did.
You. And in what amount?
When it finished.
When it finished.
That was December 30th. There
Yeah,
was
go ahead.
Okay, there was approximately $20,000.
Did you use your other two children's bonds?
The bonds were kept. As far as I know, 2 other bonds from my youngest daughters were used. My oldest daughter had already cashed all of her bonds.
How much did you get for your this daughter's bonds?
I do not recall. I don't have the paper for it.
I do.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
$17 bonds, each with a $100 face value. And if held to maturity, which would have been a couple of years from now, they would have been worth $1,700. So now you had an emergency. Let us assume, Miss Welk, you had an emergency. And while I'm not condoning the fact that you took your daughter's bonds and cashed them in at a much lesser value than you would have gotten had they been held to maturity, why didn't you replace them when you got $20,000 from your grandmother's estate?
At the time that all of this occurred, we had all of these other things going on. When all of this changed, we also had no place to live. The house was sold because it was in this whole situation. We then had to move, taking Kristen with us. After all of that was done, I didn't even remember this entire situation until this divorce situation came up in 2003.
Well, you owe us $1,700, period, for the bonds. Outrageous. Your conduct is outrageous. That's one. Number two, your daughter says that she loaned you $3,000. Why did you loan your mother $3,000?
Because her and my stepfather were going, he served her with papers for divorce, and I wanted to help her out. She came to me and asked me to borrow $3,000.
Where did you get $3,000 from?
I got it. I worked at a gymnastics place, and I got money from there, and my father died, and I received Social Security checks every month.
Do you put the Social Security checks away?
Yes, I put them into my bank account.
Let me see the bank account.
That's the bank statements.
On June 18th, she transferred $3,000 into your checking account. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was for the purposes of securing an attorney in your matrimonial case?
Correct.
And then, according to your answer, within a week, you and your husband reconciled.
Right.
Why didn't you give her back the money?
Because first of all, it wasn't a loan. She gave that to me hoping to be able to end this situation and move us back to Stockton where her friends were.
Just a second. Did you come to her and ask her for money
No,
to
ma'am,
go to an attorney?
No, ma'am.
What was the $3,000 to be used for?
It was used for the attorney.
Just a second. Are you telling me that you gave the attorney $3,000 and within a week's time the attorney would not give you back the $3,000? Is that what you're telling me?
I can show you what he's...
Don't listen to me very carefully. Don't show me anything. Are you telling me that she gave you the $3,000 for the purposes of securing an attorney, that you gave the attorney a retainer of $3,000, within days you reconciled with your husband, and are you telling me the attorney did not give you your retainer or most of it back? I'm going to call the attorney.
I have it right
I'm
here.
going to call the attorney because you understand, don't you, that that would be unethical for the attorney to have kept the $3,000 if the attorney did no work.
He returned $889 of the $3,000, and I have his bill here if you would like to see how he used it.
Sure, give it to me. Well, let me ask you this question. How much of the $800 that you claimed the attorney gave you back did you give to your daughter? I asked you a question. How much of the $800 that he gave you back did you give to your daughter?
I didn't.
You're some piece of work.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Children take from their parents. Parents don't take from their children.
And later today,
when I found out that he was having a baby with the other lady, I asked him if he was going to be with me or her, and he couldn't tell me.
You couldn't make up your mind.
Correct.
Couldn't find your mind.
real cases, real people, Judge Judy. 19-year-old Kristen Carmichael says her mother, Catherine Welk, cashed in savings bonds purchased for her by her great-grandmother. Catherine says Kristen gave her that money.
Is this June 18th, 2003 or 2004 that you gave this money to your mother?
2003.
2003. And your mother says that within a couple of days, or within a week, she reconciled with her husband. Then what is all this stuff here from September of 2003 from the attorney? If you reconciled with your husband, why is he still doing things in September of 2003?
I questioned him also.
Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. Has absolutely nothing to do with this case. You owe your daughter $3,000. For that, you owe your daughter $1,700 for the bonds. $4,700. Listen. Children take from their parents. Parents don't take from their children. You're supposed to, if you bury your grandmother, it's your responsibility. It's not her responsibility. If you get the money back, which you did, which you clearly did, immediately, if you had an emergency, you reimburse your daughter. And if you're having a problem with your husband, and if your daughter is nice enough to give you money because you asked for it, for an attorney, and if within a week you reconcile, then you say, honey, here's your $3,000 back that you've been working for. I wouldn't take that money from you, instead of giving her a whole bunch of excuses. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,700.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That was my money that I loaned to my mom.
I didn't go to her asking for it. She gave it to me.
She needed to pay me back.
And all it's done is teach me a lesson that my youngest daughter will pay the price for this daughter.
We got into an argument over something absolutely ridiculous, and we got into a confrontation and she kicked me out.
It's very difficult. I have worried day in and day out since she left our house, not knowing where she is or how she is. She does not care about any of us.
I would like us to have a mother-daughter relationship, but I don't know.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sipkama versus Roberts Sparks. Step forward, please.
26-year-old restaurant manager Mark Sipkama is suing his ex-girlfriend, 25-year-old fast food employee Christy Sparks, and her mother, Brenda Roberts, for stealing his property when Christy moved out.
According to you, Mr. Sipkama,
Correct.
the defendant and her 2 children,
3 children.
3 children, moved in with you.
Correct.
You were dating
Correct.
at the time. How long had you been dating?
I'm off for a little over a year and a half.
You believe that there was something that perhaps could turn into a long-term relationship with the defendant?
At the time being, yes.
Okay. You moved in with him when?
On August 29th, I think.
With your 3 children?
Right.
Shortly thereafter, Miss Sparks discovered that you were seeing your ex-girlfriend, and that there was a very strong possibility that your ex-girlfriend was pregnant with your child. Is that close enough to the truth so you're going to say yes, Your Honor?
It's close enough,
Yes.
Your Honor.
Ah, okay. Suffice it to say, she was very angry.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she moved out.
Correct.
And it is your claim that when she moved out, she took some property that
Correct.
belonged to you, and in addition, with the help of her mother, that's why her mother is also a co-defendant, that her mother helped her move out and took your stuff.
Correct.
And that she destroyed a prized hat collection that you had.
It wasn't a hat collection, just a few hats, Your Honor.
Hats.
Yes.
So you wanted to pay you $1,000.
For everything, Your Honor, I have my evidence right here, receipts and...
When did you move out?
I moved out the following Saturday.
Tell me why.
Because when I found out that he was having a baby with the other lady, I asked him if he was going to be with me or her, and he couldn't tell me.
What did he say to you?
He said that I know what you want to hear and I know what she wants to hear, and...
He couldn't make up his mind at the time?
Right, so I took
right,
it
sir?
upon myself
That's right.
and
You
moved
couldn't
out.
make up your mind?
Correct.
Couldn't find your mind?
I wasn't going to base my whole life experience on just this.
What?
I wasn't going to... I didn't have the answers for my whole life just that minute when she wanted it.
Well, let me ask you this question. If you were involved with Miss Sparks...
I never asked her to leave, Your Honor.
Shh. If you were involved with Miss Sparks and you thought you might want to build a life with her, how come this other lady is pregnant and you're saying to yourself, and it's probably mine?
Before she moved in, Your Honor, she knew I had been with my ex-girlfriend. She knew that already before she moved in.
Well, I'm asking you, not what she knew. I'm asking you, why?
Just make mistakes, Your Honor.
How come you invited her to live with you, sir?
They were evicted out of their place, Your Honor, and we had talked about getting a place the 1st of October. I found out the same time when she was evicted that my ex-girlfriend was pregnant. I didn't know how to tell her. After talking with my parents, they said I should wait to see if the baby was mine first.
So your parents said, why don't you wait before you discuss it with her until after the baby is born, which would be how many months?
8 months.
And then after she's lived with you for 8 months, you take a blood test, and if the baby is yours, then you have to
I wasn't stating the fact that I was going to wait 8 months to tell her, Your Honor. I just wasn't sure when the best time to tell her was going to be.
There is no best time.
You're right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mark Sipkema says his ex-girlfriend, Christy Sparks, and her mom, Brenda Roberts, stole his belongings when Christy moved out.
Now, what is it that you claim that she and her mother took when they moved out, other than her things and the 3 children's things that she moved in?
My television, a VCR.
TV, hold on, TV.
Okay. VCR.
VCR.
Stereo.
Stereo.
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation.
A phone charger for my cell phone, and that was about it.
So when you came home and after she had moved out, you found these things missing?
Correct, Your Honor.
Did you call the police?
Yes, I did.
You filed a police report?
Yes, I did.
Can I see it, please? So I gather that when you came home, you found the apartment unlocked.
Right.
And your things missing.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Sipkema, what proof do you have that the defendants took your property?
5 o'clock in the evening, I drove by my house to see her mother's van, and we're packing the belongings. Later on that evening, I got home, saw my house like it just got, of course, everything got taken from me. The key was left on the floor in the middle of the open. A bottle of bleach was left where the TV sat in the entertainment system. And in the bedroom, there was the alarm clock was missing, but the 19-inch TV was still there. Now, if someone's going to come into your apartment and steal your things, I'm sure they're going to take a TV other than an alarm clock. They might look through your clothes. They might look through your closets. They may take the key, come back later and try to take things they couldn't get before.
So is what you're telling me, Mr. Sipkema, that you have no proof that the defendants took your property?
No actual proof.
Well, we're in an actual court. In an actual court, you need actual proof. Other than the fact that you were an unfaithful boyfriend and moved the defendant and her 3 children into your home only to discover that you had fathered another child and couldn't make up your mind between which of the 2 girlfriends that you wanted to be with. I mean, that's
I never
enough
wanted to be with the other one, Your Honor.
That's enough of a reason for her to move out and even perhaps do something to your things.
So it's justified stealing people's things?
No, not at all,
Right.
sir. Not at all. I'm just telling you that she had a motive.
Yes, you're right, Your Honor.
She had a motive.
You're right.
You need more than a motive. You need proof. Did you take his things?
No, I did not.
No. Did you take his things?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Who are you living with now, Mr.
I'm living with
Sipkema?
myself, Your Honor.
Good. And what about your ex-girlfriend and her baby?
I speak to her about once a week, see how things are going.
So you're not really involved with her either?
I was never getting back with her, Your Honor. My plans were not to get back with her. I never told her I wanted to get back with her.
You said you weren't sure what your feelings were.
I wasn't sure about me and her and if we were going to be married, like, long term. That's what she wanted to hear, Your Honor.
No.
Like she stated.
Listen, I don't care whether you marry her or not. I don't care if you marry your ex-girlfriend or not. What I'm suggesting to you is the only 3 people that are innocents in this whole thing are your 3 children.
Yeah.
Who you uprooted from one place, you moved into another place. A week later, you moved them out. Where are they living now?
I have an apartment in Greenfield.
Okay. Well, try to stay put. How old are you?
25.
And how old are your children?
4, 2, and 10 months.
Who's the father of the 10-month-old? Is not an answer.
Pedro.
Where is he?
He lives in Greenwood.
Ever married to him?
No.
Ever married to anybody?
Yes.
Who?
Michael.
And is he the father of any of your children?
No.
So the person you were married to, you had no children with, do each of your children have different fathers?
No.
2 of them have the same father?
Yes.
And the 10-month-old has a different father?
Yes.
You did listen to me. You did a wonderful job.
I
That's
tried,
all.
Your Honor.
Goodbye.
Ms. Spratling. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Perkins, thank you, Bert. According to your complaint, you and the defendant have known each other a very long time. You lived together for a period of time. And while you were living together, you made a loan to him in the amount of $400 to fix his truck. And then you claimed that you purchased a dinette set for the apartment. When you left, or when he put you out of the house, he kept the dinette set. So you want the money that you spent on the dinette set and the $400 loan for his truck. The defendant says there were never any loans. He paid all the bills. Whatever you bought into the house, you bought really to, take care of your end of the bills. And in addition, when you left, you destroyed certain things in the house, and you really damaged his property, doors, threw around his clothes and whatever. So we'll get to your counterclaim in a minute. When did you move in together, Miss Perkins?
In September.
How long had you known him before that?
About 5.5 years.
And were you planning a long-term relationship with him?
Yes.
What was the financial arrangement when you moved in?
Well, he paid all the bills there. I got most of the groceries, and I paid my car note and insurance and my other bills, because we were both using my vehicle at the same time.
You were using your car?
He had my car most of the time because I was at work. I was working 2 jobs, and he had my car throughout the whole day.
What was he doing with your car?
I would get dropped off at work at 8:30, and he would come pick me up from work at 5.
So he was working during the day?
Right, until, he went to work at 12.
So now tell me about this $400 loan.
Well, in November, he asked me, could he borrow $400 to get his car fixed? And I said, okay.
So he had a car?
But it was never working. He needed the money to get it fixed, so I let him borrow the money.
Fine. Can I borrow $400? Is that what he said to you?
Yeah, so I let him borrow. He came to the job.
Can I borrow $400?
Yes.
And when did he get the money?
In November. November 28th.
Did you make any arrangement with him with regard to paying back the money?
No set date. He said he was going to give it back. And I asked him plenty of times, can I get the money back? And he would say, okay. And we came across a couple of situations agreements that we might come by.
Miss Perkins, listen to me carefully. I don't want you to make things up as you go along.
I'm not.
Good. Okay, you gave him the $400. You continued to live together.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, he got the money the day that he got the money November 28th. That's when everything went down. That's when everything happened.
Is November 28th the day that you separated?
Yes.
When was the last time you lived in the house with him? November 28th?
Actually, it was November 27th. The night of November 27th, which turned into November 28th. That's when everything happened, because he had went to the hospital because he had got the young lady pregnant when we were together.
And she was going to have her baby, according to you,
that night.
Day. Okay. What about this dinette set? When did you buy the dinette set?
In October. I gave him the money to go pick up. The dinette set was they was purchased separately. The chairs was purchased at one place, and the table was purchased at the other.
All right. So how much is it? $400?
No, the whole dinette set was $650.
Okay, Mr. Spratling.
Yes. I said I don't owe Erica.
I don't care what you say. Did you take $400 from her on the 27th or 28th of November?
Erica did give me $400.
Did you take
Yes.
$400 from her on either the 27th or the 28th?
Yes, I did.
And when did you put her out of the house?
That same night. That same night,
And what did you do with the $400?
I used that $400 to get my car fixed.
That's pretty coincidental.
Right. If I may, on the 28th or whatnot, I called Erica, let her know that my car was down, and I had needed some money to go ahead and get my car fixed. Erica, being my woman at that time, went ahead and gave me the money. I never went ahead and asked Erica. I never went ahead and told Erica, let me borrow any money. Erica went ahead and gave me that money or whatnot to get my car fixed. I never once said, let me borrow the money, or can you loan me this money? By us staying together, whatnot, I went ahead and just, okay, took it as if, well, we're together, whatnot. I didn't ask you for a loan or whatever. I asked you if, I told you my car was down, you went ahead and just gave me the money. I never told you, well, Erica.
I heard that already. Move on. That night you put her out of the house, correct?
Correct.
Want to tell me how that came about, sir?
My daughter was being born or whatnot. I went ahead and called Erica, letting her know the situation. And Erica told me that if I stayed overnight at the hospital or whatnot, that she was going to, ruin my apartment or whatnot, because me and her she was getting upset or whatnot.
No, I told you.
Shh. So I then called and asked my younger brother and my cousin Nisha here if they can go ahead to my apartment, make sure that Erica doesn't, leave and ruin my apartment at the same time. And that's when Erica and my cousin then got into an altercation or whatnot.
Well, Erica got a little crazy and started to throw around your stuff. Isn't that right, Erica?
In my bedroom.
I don't care what bedroom it was. He started throwing around his stuff. Is that right?
Yes.
You were pretty angry.
I was very upset.
Oh, okay. So you want to tell me what you think she owes you?
$2,400.
For what?
We got harassment, damaged property, harassment.
What's the damaged property? Forget harassment. You ought to be harassed. What's next? You ought to be harassed. She wouldn't do it, I'll do it.
All right.
Tell me about the damaged property, sir.
Well, Erica went ahead and, like, the day she came over, on the 28th, she came in and kicked in my door.
Show me the bill. Did you kick in his door?
I didn't kick in the door. I had keys to the door. I had no reason to kick in it. My sister kicked in the door.
And was she with you?
Oh, yes, she was with me.
Good, so you're responsible. Cost them $100 for new locks. What else?
Then, that right there is for, can I see this, please? That there is for assault or whatnot. This is
for what?
Assault. Erica also came over to my house again after we had already broken up or whatever, banging on my door or whatnot, almost getting me evicted from my apartment or whatever. She then kicked the door, breaking my molding and whatnot.
All right.
This here's the police report for that.
I don't care about the police report. Where's the bill?
I don't have a bill for that.
So how am I supposed to figure out how much that cost? What'd you kick in his door for,
I've
Erica?
never kicked in the door. I've never kicked the door at all.
All right.
I've never did it.
Well, since he doesn't have a bill, I can't help you anyway. But you certainly are responsible for new locks that he had to put on because your sister kicked in the door, because your sister was
I
angry.
told her
She
to
came
stop
over with you.
kicking it in because I had the keys to the door. So
She's
it was no
your
reason.
responsibility, my dear.
I don't tell her what to do.
Fine. Then you know what you should do? Sue her for the $100 because it's coming off your claim. Do you understand that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, what else?
A broken chain. The day Erica came in, the second time she came in and assaulted me or whatever, she broke my chain.
That was my chain.
Shh, shh. No, it wasn't. You gave it to him.
No, I've never given him that chain.
Oh,
He
really?
wore it throughout the relationship. I've never said, here, you could have this chain.
Oh, stop.
I let him wear it.
Stop it. How many years has he worn it?
A year.
That's a long time.
I mean,
now it's
even
become his.
we
Adverse
have been-
possession. Listen, now it's his. So she broke the chain?
Yes, Your Honor.
My
Oh, put it back in your pocket. What other damage? Let's hear. Let's hear. You want to give me any other nonsense? I really have a very busy day.
Oh, that's basically all.
Good, fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You were dumb enough to buy it, pay
Why
to
would I
have it
have
moved.
to pay for it? I mean, I'm not
Listen, you
understanding.
want him to keep the dinette set?
No, I want the dinette
Then
set.
get it.
And later today,
Why don't you have a job? What do you
I was
do?
going to school. I was getting ready to go to school.
Going to school and getting ready to go to school are
I had-
entirely different things.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Erica Perkins says ex-boyfriend Carl Spratling owes for a loan and for the return of a dinette set. Carl says Erica gave him the money so he could fix his car.
All right, where's the dinette set?
It's at my apartment.
Good, you're going to give it back to her. And we're going to pack it up and we're going to give it back to her, and you're going to give it back to her in very, very good condition. Do you understand?
Yes, I do. I have a question.
Well, I'm not usually here to answer questions, but in your case, I'll make an exception. What's
Okay,
your question?
Well, basically, my question is, why am I giving her a dining room set, which I told Erica not to purchase or whatnot, due to our relationship, we were already on shaky terms. I asked Erica not to purchase this dining room set.
Yes?
I said, Erica, don't buy this dining room set because...
And she didn't listen? Erica?
Okay.
Shut up. So what's your question? You told her not to buy it.
I told her not to buy it or whatnot.
You told her not to buy it.
Correct.
And she bought it anyway.
Correct.
So what's your question?
So I'm wondering, like, I told her not to buy it. She purchased it anyway. She told me, I was like, well, Erica, I don't want you buying this dinette set due to the fact that if me and you were to break up, that, you know, you're going to want to take it with you. I quote, Erica sat there and told me that if me and her was to break up, I can have the dinette set. She was just going to leave with her items.
I want you to be quiet if I need you. So what's your question?
Why am I returning it when she told me I can have it?
Why are you returning it?
Correct.
I'm going to give you the answer. Because I said so. That's the answer.
Right.
For the same reason that you're going to give her back the $400, which now becomes $300 because I'm taking $100 off for the locks her sister broke. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff following $300 in cash, plus the dinette set is to be packed up. 5 days from today, you arrange for it to be moved to wherever you want it moved. Do you understand?
So I would have to pay for the expenses to it for me so that it could be removed.
You have to pay to have it moved. Yes, you were dumb enough to buy it, pay to have it moved.
Why would I have to pay for it, though, to be moved? I understand, but I don't, I'm not
Listen, you want him to keep the dinette set?
No, I want the dinette set.
Then get it! Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If she wanted, she can have it. I buy my own.
He did get a young lady pregnant when we worked together.
He told her not to buy it, and she wanted to buy it anyway. It was her stupid decision.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Heath versus Carter. Step forward, please.
Street sweeper Ray Heath is suing his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old student Nicole Carter, for unpaid rent and for damages to their apartment. Nicole is countersuing, also for apartment damages and for the cost to change the locks.
Mr. Heath, you and Miss Carter decided to set up housekeeping in your own apartment, and you leased an apartment together. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you lease the apartment?
April of 2001.
And because neither of you probably had very good credit, your aunt had to co-sign the lease.
Yes, ma'am.
And then there came a time when you and the defendant had an argument, and she called the police and had you removed.
Yes, in August.
And you stayed out of the apartment because she got a protective order against you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
However, she wasn't paying the rent.
Right.
And in order for not only your credit, but primarily, I'm sure, your aunt's credit not to be destroyed, you continued to pay the rent on the apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want the defendant to pay at least her half of the rent for the months that you weren't there, that she lived there, until you could get out of the lease. And how many months' rent did you pay from August until when, sir?
The agreement was made when we first moved in April. I paid the rent from April 2001 to January of 2002.
What was the entire rent?
$5,338.
That's an expensive apartment a month. I just want you to tell me, sir, how much a month was the rent?
Oh, $475. I'm sorry about that.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay rent in May, June, or July?
No,
any
ma'am.
rent? You did not?
No, ma'am.
So you didn't pay any rent at all in this apartment?
Nope.
Is that right?
He agreed to pay for the rent, and I clean, cook, and pay the electricity and stuff like that.
Did you have an agreement with her where she would pay half the rent?
No.
Yes,
Quiet.
yes, ma'am. Yes, we did. I have my aunt as a witness.
Are you the one who co-signed on this lease?
Yes.
Would you step up, please? Tell me your last name.
Wilkins.
Miss Wilkins, did these two young people come to you and ask you to sign the lease, co-sign the lease?
Yes, they did.
Both of them?
Both of them. I asked Nicole, was this true that she was going to pay half of the rent, and she told me yes.
Does that sound right?
No, ma'am.
Sure it does. Sure
No,
it does.
That's not how it went.
Listen, were you working?
Nope.
Why not?
At the time when we moved out, we didn't have anywhere to stay at, so I lost my job. That's when he said
May, June, July,
I never had a
August,
job.
September. Why don't you have a job? What do you do?
I was going to school. I was getting ready to go to school.
No, going to school and getting ready to go to school is two entirely different things.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ray Heath says ex-girlfriend Nicole Carter owes for unpaid rent and apartment damages. Nicole says Ray abused her throughout their relationship.
Why weren't you working?
Because I had no transportation.
Aren't there any stores around this place where you were living?
Mm-hmm. I was looking.
What do you do for a living, sir?
Well, at the time, I was driving a sweeper. The
Now let's
streets.
get to the time you put him out of the apartment. Tell me about that.
Well, at the time, he'd been abusing me the whole time I've been with him.
Well, that's,
So-
you know, if you allow that to happen,
Yeah.
then you're just as stupid as he is guilty.
You're right. You're right. So we got into an argument over a car that my mother had gave me, and he took my keys.
What kind of an argument did you get into?
Well,
Your
I
mother had
came
given you a
from-
car, right? Mm-hmm. Your mother had given you a car, so now you had transportation so that you could get a job.
Yeah. You're right.
Right.
So
Well, now, what
he didn't
kind of
like
argument did you have?
He didn't like the fact that I was driving my car, going other places other than looking for a job.
Sounds right to me. He's
But no,
paying
it
all
wasn't
the
only-
bills.
It wasn't only that. It was just the simple fact that he didn't like my relationship with my mom, my mother coming around, and people that came to the house. He just was very overprotective. He didn't even want me to leave the house. If I wasn't looking for a job, he didn't want me leaving the house. He just wanted me there to cook, clean, and be there for him.
Okay. So you had an argument.
Mm-hmm.
What happened during this argument?
He was trying to take my keys from me, so I went to the bathroom to go put on some clothes, and he just grabbed the door open, grabbed me, and swung me into the bed on the floor. Grabbed my keys and left.
He took your keys and he took you out of the bathroom forcefully and threw you on the bed or the floor?
He threw me to the bed, but I landed on the floor.
He missed.
Mm-hmm.
So you called the police?
Yep.
And you had him removed?
Mm-hmm.
And you got an order of protection?
Next day, when he came back again.
Good. Now you have your car that your mother gave you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lovely smile.
Thank you.
So why couldn't you get a lovely job so that you could pay the rent? Who did you expect to pay the rent?
He put me through so much stuff where...
Who did you expect to pay the rent?
I was going to pay the rent. I had no problem with paying the rent. My mother would have helped me pay the rent, but I just couldn't get him out the house. He still was coming back to the house the whole time, even after I put him out. My house was broken into twice. He was coming, leaving notes, all types of things like that.
You lived there. Why didn't you pay your half of the rent?
Because he agreed to take care of me.
I don't believe you. That after you put him out of the house...
He had been taking care of me
Listen to
the
me
whole time.
carefully. That after you put him out of the house, that he agreed to take care of you.
When I went to go pay the rent, they told me the rent was already paid, so what was I supposed to do? Just say, oh, well, take my money and give him his back?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right, Mr. Heath, listen to me very carefully. You were put out in August. 6 months you paid rent, and you did not have the use of your apartment. The rent is $475 a month. That is $2,850. Half of that is $1,425. Do you understand? You have to think more carefully about what you do, but she's certainly responsible for that. The other 3 months that she lived there with you and you didn't collect her half of the rent, chalk up to your own stupidity. I mean, she's got a great smile and everything else, but you have to separate here from the other parts of your anatomy. In any event, now let's get to your counterclaim. You had to change the locks 3 times because he kept coming back inside?
Twice, yeah.
That's
he
the
was
interest.
not, it wasn't even that he kept coming in, he had broke in twice. He still had access to the house and I got the locks changed. He still was coming in there, leaving notes like turn the lights off and stuff like that.
Ooh.
He was coming to get his clothes. He was living there. If I wasn't there, he was there.
You mean he was sleeping there?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I would come there some nights and the bed would be messed up.
But he wasn't there.
But I was just scared. He wasn't there when I got there.
Okay. You changed the locks, it made you feel safer?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
Because he was still calling, like, turn the lights off.
Explain something to you. Go home and live with your mother.
I did.
Good, you should have done it sooner. You should have done it sooner. The only reason you did it was because you didn't have the sucker anymore to pay your way.
Basically.
Basically. That's absolutely right. As soon as the sucker stopped paying your way, then you move back with your mother. You're a
That was
taker.
his agreement.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000.
7 on the calendar in the matter of Yukevich versus Seiss. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Ms. Yukevich, you were a waitress in a restaurant.
Correct.
The defendant was there with a group of family members, a large group of family members.
Correct.
And it is your claim that while there, she assaulted you.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated not only for the assault, but for your lost wages and your pain and suffering.
Yes.
The defendant says she never hit you. Were you the person who was serving the defendant's group?
No.
Tell me what happened.
Well, that party had been sitting there for a while, and they were drinking a lot. And I was in the section next to this large party, and I had a couple of tables there. And throughout the night, they were having problems, my tables with the large party, because the large party was kind of getting out of control, standing up, backing into my tables. And I believe that woman right over there was smoking in the non-smoking section, and a table had asked me, to tell the woman to stop because it was bothering them, and they were in the non-smoking
She was
section.
just standing in the...
Just standing in the non-smoking, smoking. So I walked up to her and I proceeded to tell her, ma'am, you can't smoke here, this is non-smoking. She then proceeded to get very defensive with me. And
what did she say?
She said, we're leaving. You can't tell me when to leave and what to do. I can stay here as long as I want and do whatever I want. And I said, you can, ma'am, but you can't smoke here. And she proceeded to say the same thing, call me some names like, you white gringa, weta. And I said, you know what, if you want to be a grumpy old woman, be a grumpy old woman, but do it somewhere else. And I walked away because I knew the situation was going to get out of control. So I went to go tell my manager what had happened. And as I was walking around, she came running up to me, excuse me, you white bitch. bitch, you white bitch. That's her, that's her. Grabbed me, slammed me up against the wall like this, started punching me, kicking me, scratching at my face or something, and slamming me up against the wall. And I'm freaked out because I've never seen this woman before in my life. Luckily, then one of my coworkers jumped in between, and she's reaching around him, you know, punching like this, kicking, and that's when I like looked down the way at my section, and there was a full-out brawl. That large party of hers, they had tables thrown over, broken bottles. One of my customers was on the ground, and they were kicking him. He was bloody from head to toe. At that point, I don't know where she went, but I ended up just running because I didn't know what to do. It was like a flight, something. I took off to run outside because I was like, I'm getting the hell out of this situation. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What kind of injuries did you sustain?
I have some pictures here.
I'd like to see
and
them.
I have a medical bill. They're not very good pictures. She did throw me up against the wall, so like a lot of it was to the back of my head. This is the medical bill here. The restaurant did pay for the medical bill, but that's just the... on there, you can see some of the scratches on my face.
Were you taken to the emergency room then?
The EMS checked me out, and then they told me to go to the hospital afterwards. So I went, right after I got off work, I went to the emergency room.
Did you miss any work?
Yes, I did. I have this that shows what I missed several days. I also have a police report and an incident report from my managers.
I'd like to see both.
This is police report, and this is incident report from the managers. There's also a statement from Margaret on that day in there, too, that it was an incident report, I guess. I did highlight a statement.
Okay, Ms. Saez, now I'm ready to hear from you. You were having dinner with your family. Go ahead.
Yes, but I believe we were there a different day because what she's saying is not at all the incident I was involved in. We were a party of 23, 5 generations. The incident, the way it started was I was walking Grandma out. She was walking out ahead of me. My witness was walking out ahead of me. And I sent Grandma off with someone else because I saw that they were having words with each other. The part where I walked in is where Hazel says, I didn't know we had a time limit, is what she told her at that time.
Who's Hazel?
This is my witness. Hazel's my niece.
I didn't know we had a time limit.
Right. So anyway, if you want, Hazel can tell you how the incident started with her, and she can tell you what went on.
So that's what you heard. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, what I heard them say, she says, you Mexicans never know when to leave.
I work in a Mexican restaurant.
Just a second. So that's, okay, all right, just a second. So that's what you say you heard her say to your niece?
Yes. You Mexicans never know when to leave. Hazel says, I didn't know we had a time limit. And she says, yes, that's why nobody wants you people around.
I know.
She told her. And then she proceeded to light a cigarette because she had been on her way out. And she tells her, you can't smoke here. It's a non-smoking area. And then she says, and besides, you're just jealous of my white skin and my blonde hair. Then turned around and walked out.
Go ahead.
So, you know, like, blood started boiling, but my daughter grabbed me at this time because there were some friends, other friends of ours there that we hadn't seen in a while. So then afterwards I went looking for her. I felt she was being very rude. I approached her. I was on my way to approach her to discuss the situation. I put my finger up at her to, you know, to make the point. The 2 bus boys jumped me at that time, grabbed me, and I do have some injuries and some, I'm disabled. I am on disability. I have metal fusions on my neck, arthritis spondylosis.
You never brought this up.
Shh. I've since then been, I've had 6 surgeries and been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and all this stuff. Anyway, so I can't move. I can't do that kind of stuff. I approached her. The bus boys jumped me before I even said a word. And they started, and they pulled my arms back, which causes a great deal of pain for me. So I started yelling and screaming, let me go, let me go. So my son saw this, and he came over. He says, I'll take her out. Don't worry about her. So he got me by the arm, and we went out.
How do you think she got the scratches on her face, Miss Saez?
I have no idea. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to see the pictures because APD and the fire department were there. They checked her. And, you know, according to the police report, it says that they just let her go. It says battery, but they didn't arrest me. Had they found any marks on her or anything, and it's an assault, they would have arrested me.
They said they couldn't arrest her, that I would have to press charges. They didn't even arrest the people that assaulted my customer, and he was bleeding from head to toe.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Waitress Michelle Yukevich says she was assaulted on the job by customer Margaret Seiss. Margaret says Michelle insulted her with a racial slur.
So my question to you is, why didn't you press charges on her? Is there any reason?
Oh, I had to, it took me 45 days to get the police report, like seriously, and then I was waiting to go down and press charges. I know it's been a little while, but I mean it's been in the back of my head.
It's not going to happen. Okay.
Had I hit her?
Ms. Saez, I believe you made contact with the plaintiff. Let me tell you that.
No, I didn't.
Let me tell you why I believe you made contact with all of your disabilities. Because when someone is assaulted, they want the person responsible to compensate them or be punished. If she were assaulted by somebody else, you wouldn't be here. She said that you assaulted her. According to your own statement, you were hot, you got furious, according to you, when you heard her make comments to your niece, and you were hot then. Then you went back to find her. And you didn't go back to find her just to have a discussion, because by that time, things were starting to get rowdy between the tables on your side and the tables on the other side, because this looks to me as if it turned into a free-for-all. So you had not only the opportunity, but you had the mental capacity at that moment to strike out at her.
Your Honor, I wear these rings all the time, plus other ones. I just toned it down a little bit. These would have left some big bruises had I punched her.
Look at
the way the tables are set in the restaurant, there is no way that you can get her against the wall. And on her police report, she says on here that I was smoking, that I was seated in a non-smoking area, which I wasn't.
Police got confused, but the whole story, the story that I get in the complaint...
No, but she says that she came back,
listen
and
to me,
she
the
didn't
stories
talk
that,
to me,
the
she
stories
talked
that,
to her.
The stories that you both told today are totally consistent. Now, the police, in the course of taking down a report, may not get everything right, but the stories that you both told me today were consistent with regard to what happened with your niece, that she told her not to smoke, whatever words were exchanged. And I'm not sure that I'm getting the whole story about the words that were exchanged, because it seemed to me absolutely ludicrous for the plaintiff.
What she said is an absolute lie, Your Honor. All I have to back me up is the truth. Yeah. And when he swore me in, I swore to do that. I would never was the word gringa used, anything like that. Nothing like that was ever said. I don't know where she got this from.
Just a minute. But according to you, the word was said.
Oh, it was.
Just a minute. According to you, the word bitch was said by your niece.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, I believe that. What I'm telling you, Ms. Saez, is that what the police took down quickly in their notes did not reflect what happened on that day, which was basically she told her not to smoke. They get into some words. You're overhearing words that they're getting into, and you decided to have a confrontation with her, which you did. You not only decided to have a confrontation with her at that moment that you heard it, but you got rid of your mother or your aunt or whoever else it was, and you went back to find her. Again, you went back to confront her. Because according to you, Ms. Saez, you were boiling at what you heard her say. And then you went to find her. That's what you said. You said, I went to find her.
Because she was making such horrible racist remarks. And unless someone is there to receive those names, if you're not there at the other end, will never know how you feel. You feel humiliated, degraded. She made me feel like an alien.
Oh,
and
Ms.
I don't mean
Saez,
like an alien from
Ms.
across
Saez,
the border. I'm talking
Ms.
about
Saez,
from Mars or something. Never
Ms.
did
Saez,
that.
you are a grown-up, madam. Grown-ups know that words...
I understand that.
Words are different from acting physically.
When someone is being a racist,
yes,
it is going to cause problems. No one likes to be labeled with names.
So what kind of problems is it going to cause? What kind of... Hey, Ms. Saez, you see what you're doing?
Exactly. This is what she was doing.
No, this is what you're doing.
And this is why I got angry. And unless you're on that receiving end...
You got angry and you hit her. It's going to cost you $2,500.
Receive that.
Period. End of discussion. Sticks and stones break my bones. Names will never hurt me. You report it to the manager. You never go back to the restaurant, but you don't go over there and assault her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Thank you very
Parties
much.
are excused. You may step out.
None of that ever happened. Absolutely none of it happened.
Margaret, you know, proved my case just by her actions.
Knock the out of the person, if you can.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dagrapont versus Sierra. Step forward, please.
67-year-old Paul Dagrapont is suing 28-year-old car salesperson Vanessa Sierra for the cost of a new puppy. Paul says when his granddaughter's Maltese was in Vanessa's care, the dog ran away and was hit by a car.
Your granddaughter, I assume this is your granddaughter, had a little Maltese dog, and she wanted to breed and have a litter of puppies from her dog. You got the defendant's name. The defendant had a male Maltese. You brought your granddaughter's dog to the defendant's home for the purposes of having this liaison.
Correct.
And left her there,
Yes.
which was standard procedure, I assume. Is that right?
I've never bred a dog before, so I don't know what standard procedure is.
I haven't either.
Well, hopefully the dogs know better than you do. In any event, having done that sort of thing a couple of times myself, that's what usually happens. You bring the dog and they try to get acquainted so that there is a little, for want of a better, there's a little foreplay. You know, they sort of get to know each other and like each other and stuff. But while the dog was in your care, the dog ran away. You want to be compensated for the dog because you believe it was the defendant's responsibility. Why do you think this was not your responsibility?
It's not that it's not my responsibility. I'm really sorry for what happened.
Of course you are.
It was just a strange situation. No agreement was ever, like handwritten agreement was ever made. I mean, if I was a mean person or a bad person, I could have just simply denied having the dog. There was no proof or evidence that the dog was ever at my house.
I don't understand that. If you were a bad or a mean person. He brought the dog to your house. Your agreement was that you were going to be paid for the breeding?
Correct.
Okay. How much were you supposed to be paid?
We never agreed upon a price.
We're going to discuss the fee later. Is that all correct, Mr. Dagrapont?
Yes.
So I still don't understand why you don't think you're responsible. The dogs were playing in the backyard and his dog got away.
Right. The dog was brought to me on the day before New Year's Eve. I called him that evening to let him know that the dogs hadn't, as you called it, gotten acquainted or had their liaison, so to speak. They weren't actually getting along. My dog was chasing his dog around the house, and she didn't seem at all interested. He told me to go ahead and keep the dog overnight, which I did. I did inform him that I do work. I work the next day 9 to 9, and I would not be home. He asked me if anybody would be home. I told him my brothers and my father would.
Okay. So he did ask who would be around.
My brother put both dogs in the yard, and I do have pictures of my dog and the yard, which is completely enclosed. My brother went back to check on the dogs. He let them do their business because he didn't, this is very important, he didn't give me a leash. When he dropped off the dog, he didn't even come in the house. He just handed me the dog. I couldn't put the dog in the front yard to, you know, do its bathroom business. So we put him in the backyard, my brother did, and when he went back, within half an hour, the dog was gone. They went out, we spent the entire New Year's Eve.
Did you find out how the dog got away?
No, that's the thing. I have pictures. My dog was still in the yard. My dog didn't get out. We don't know how the dog got out.
Maybe somebody stole her. Yeah. Somehow the dog got away.
Right. And I'm not disputing that fact.
So you have to pay for the dog.
Well, I mean, the dog should have been picked up earlier in the day. I wasn't home. I mean, I'm really sorry for what happened, and then...
Miss Sierra, the dog was entrusted to your care in a business relationship. You were going to be paid for the purposes of breeding the dog. If the dog was left in your care, was not returned, you have to pay for the dog. Simple. Did you replace the puppy for your granddaughter?
Yes, we did.
You did. And do you have the bill for the replacement puppy?
We have pictures of the puppy. This is the new puppy, and these are the pictures of the old ones.
Oh, this time you got her a little Yorkie. How's the new puppy?
Playful.
Looks adorable. Step up near your granddaddy. A girl or a boy?
A girl.
What did you name her?
Minnie.
How old is she now?
I think 10 or 11 weeks.
You taking good care of her?
Yeah.
Good. How much did you pay for Minnie?
$700.
You have the bill?
I don't have the bill on the new dog. I have a canceled check on the old one, and this is the posters that we put up looking for when Rice was missing. And we have bills from the veterinarian that they require baby shots, so to speak.
Okay, let me see the bill for the Maltese, please, and the vet shots.
We put 150 of these posters out in the neighborhood looking for her. When we finally found her, she was dead.
She had been hit by a car?
By a car.
I assume that somehow she got out because if somebody had stolen her.
I don't, like I said, I have pictures of the yard completely enclosed.
Well, maybe your brother accidentally opened up the front door. I don't know. Dorothy, cost of the dog was $625, and all the vet bills with the cost of the dog come to $1,011. Judgment for the plaintiff. I'm glad you got a new puppy.
Thank you.
Roland versus Bourne.
Thanks, Bert.
You're quite welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
How old are you, Miss Rowland?
19.
According to the complaint that I've read, you were house sitting for the defendant.
Correct.
Right after you graduated from high school, which was when?
June 16th of 2001.
That was just for a month or two?
It was until I left for college on August 18th.
According to your complaint, the defendant was out of town, either on business or seeing family. She came back. She threw you out unceremoniously, and she kept some of your property. She says she has none of your property. She is counterclaiming. She says you trashed her house and caused her all kinds of other grief. So, how did you know Miss Bourne?
I had previously hung out with her daughter. I go over to her house every once in a while.
And whose idea was it that you should house sit for her over the summer?
I believe that I had said something to her daughter, Shasta. My parents and I had an agreement that I would move out for the summer.
Why?
So that I could get used to living on my own before I went to college.
That is the biggest crock that I've heard in a long time. That's not what parents do. You move out and you go live someplace else so you get used to living on your own. I've never heard of that. Go ahead. Let me hear the rest.
Diane and I had an agreement that I would stay at her house during the summer, pay the water bill, pay the rent, take care of the house, things like that. I moved in on June 17th. She had already been gone for a month. When I got to the home was absolutely thrashed. There was dirt everywhere. The kitchen, I have photos of the kitchen when I got there. My friend Sharon cleaned the kitchen. When I first got into the house, there was a barbecue in the kitchen area, like an outdoor grill. An oil drum was being used as a trash can in the middle of the kitchen. She had an area rug the size of the living room in the living room that was nailed to the hardwood floor. To clean it, I picked it up, took it up and cleaned underneath it. There was about half an inch of dirt, crackers, food, grime. It was absolutely filthy, and I don't live like that, so I cleaned it up. I scrubbed the house on my hands and knees, cleaned the bathroom.
Go ahead. So?
July 3rd of 2001, I had come home with a couple of my friends. We were going to watch a movie, and I saw two cars in the front yard. And the two witnesses she has over there, one of them was the lady in the black was sitting on the porch, along with another lady named Cheryl and Diane's younger daughter. I was very surprised to see them home because I didn't expect them to be home until the end of the summer. And I asked, hey, what's going on? And her daughter, 17-year-old daughter, came out and told me, well, you're indeed. And I said, well, why? And then Diane came out and started screaming obscenities at me, accusing me of vandalizing the house, stealing items that were in the house, things like that.
And she put you out?
She told me that I was to give her house key back, and I said I'm going to need to go get a police officer to come get my stuff with me because she wouldn't let me get any of my things.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
And did you get your stuff?
I got some of it. What I could load in my truck, I did when the police officer was there. He had told me that he had to go out on a fight call, so I needed to get what I could and leave. So all of my stuff that was left there was now in her possession.
Well, what do you claim you left there?
A computer, a snowboard, a computer desk, clothes, personal items, things I had purchased for the house, decorations.
I don't care what you did purchase for the house. A computer and a desk and a snowboard.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Just clothes and personal items.
You have a computer and desk?
The computer desk ended up being donated to a thrift store. It was not a complete desk. There was like a whole side of it was missing.
What about the computer that was on the computer
She
desk?
took the computer the day she had the civil standby.
Have any proof that you left the computer in the house?
I have my witness. She saw that the computer was there when I left, and when she came back the next day, it was gone.
Step up. Tell me your name.
Sharon Smith.
Tell me what you know about this computer.
I was in the house the day that Diane came home.
What were you doing in the house?
I was staying there with Sarah because I was going to be leaving July 8th to go to Washington for college.
So you were living in the house?
Yeah.
Who else was living in the house?
Sarah.
Who else?
That's it. It was just me and Sarah.
Anybody else staying over?
No.
Go ahead.
Well, when I told Diane I wanted to take my things and leave, she wouldn't let me. She said I had to leave my things there. I said, well, can I at least take my purse with me? And she said, yeah, but you have to let me search it first. So I said, okay, I have nothing to hide from you. So I opened my purse. I let her look in it. She saw there was nothing of hers in there, and I had left. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on.
Can we get to the computer, please?
Well, I saw the computer there when I left. I went back the next day with my mom and a police officer to get my things, and her computer desk was no longer there.
What about her snowboard?
I don't know. I assume she took it with her when she came and got a whole truckload of stuff.
How long were you in the house after July 3rd, the date that she left?
I ended up going back to Utah approximately a week or week and a half later.
Now, in the week or week and a half that you were still in the house, the plaintiff and her parents come to the house or attempt to contact you?
The plaintiff did not. Her parents came over the next day, told me the computer actually belonged to them. She went into hiding. I had to get a restraining order because the officer that did the civil standby told me that she was a tenant. She'd never paid a dime. She'd rented rooms to her friends. She had turned my house from just a family home to a party house / bordello.
Now, how do you know that?
Well, photographic evidence, Your Honor. I've got condoms on the front room bookshelf that this young woman was apparently advertising. My family room became their junk room. My daughter's room became their junk room. She shut the door on my daughter's pet rats. No food, no water. They were this big around. They were pet rats. My daughter loved animals, and they were huge. We came home, and they were like this big around. And one is just hanging on, there's pictures, hanging on the side of the cage, no water. We gave it water.
Was it your arrangement for her to take care of
Yes,
these?
that was why she went. She was over there to feed the animals. There were cats that were so scared to come back to the house. When we left, we couldn't even catch them.
There
the
was
kittens
no agreement
became
to take care of
feral.
animals, Your Honor.
None? Did you know that there were animals in the house?
Yes, she did.
Her daughter came over, Shasta came over once and told me not to open her daughter's bedroom door because there was a rat loose in her daughter Sierra's room.
Did you feed the cat?
No, ma'am. There was no agreement for me to do so.
So what were you supposed to do there?
I was just going to live there and take care of the house, make sure that, nobody came in, I guess, and not...
Well, somebody did come in. You invited her.
I invited her, correct.
That was not part of your agreement.
There were several excuse me.
That was not your agreement.
My agreement was for me to take care of the house.
But it wasn't your agreement for you to invite anybody else to stay with you.
She had told me, be careful who you let in the house. And I trust Sharon. She was in a situation...
You are a very, very good fibber, Miss Rowan. Looks like a major mess.
But I
don't know what it looks like. I want to see which photograph that she has. She says she has a photograph of what the house looked like before. Let me see.
Sharon took these pictures before she cleaned the kitchen. These dishes and stuff was in the kitchen before we got there. This is Sharon.
Sharon?
Yeah.
When did you clean the kitchen?
The first day I was there.
Which was when, Sharon?
That would have been...
That would have been immediately, right?
Well,
when she moved in.
Sarah was there before I was. You mean
Sarah was living like a pig before you came?
She was in the process of moving her things in for a couple of days, and she asked me if I'd come over and help her clean the house. And I did, and after I cleaned the house, that's when Sarah told me that I could live with her.
Uh-huh. I don't know where your computer is. Haven't a clue. Don't know where your snowboard is. I haven't a clue. She doesn't have it. You breached your agreement with her. Your agreement with her is that she was supposed to stay there and take care of the house, take care of the animals. You did none of that. The house looks pretty trash to me, and in addition, you brought in at least one other tenant without her permission. So who knows where your computer is. You have a counterclaim. I want to see what you claim the damages because you were a tenant in this apartment. So tell me what your out-of-pocket damages were.
My first loss was the loss of my vehicle. I left California to find work. In that part of California, there's just nothing.
Come on.
So I had to leave, take time from my job to come home to deal with that.
And?
All the money that I saved to pay for my car, I ended up losing my car.
All right.
Because I had to quit my job.
A little too far removed. Come on. You're not going to get a new car. What else? Let's go.
I lost a bunch of my personal possessions.
Like what?
Family heirlooms. They broke a chair in my living room. They scratched the hardwood floor.
You're a tenant. I want to know what your out-of-pocket is.
The doors that she ripped the locks
Well, show me what you had to pay to the landlord.
I don't have that.
Well, then I can't help you. You have a cleaning bill. I mean, you showed me a lot of damage.
The cleaning bill would have been my own sweat and blood.
Your Honor,
Listen.
I have a statement from the carpet cleaner regarding the
I'm
carpet.
not reading a statement. I don't know who those professional carpet cleaners were. And quite frankly, I don't believe a lot of what you say.
Okay.
You understand that? I don't believe a lot of what you say. It's too convenient.
I also have an incident report from the police officer
that says,
stating that there was no vandalism in the house.
Oh, I'd like to see that. That I'd like to see.
I wonder if I could see that too.
No,
Your
it
Honor.
just says, listen to me, I'm going to tell you what it says. Everything appears to be code for residence is just dirty with clothes. Well, that's pretty much what I saw. Doesn't have to do with vandalism, just being a slob. The place looked like a pig pen. That's pretty much what she says, because she said she didn't have a professional anybody in there. All she did was, through the sweat of her own body, cleaned up after you. What else? You want to show me a police report?
No, it's just the contract on my car, my down payment on my car that I lost, $5,000.
First of all, you're supposed to use good judgment. You have an 18-year-old that you let move into your house who just graduated from high school. Not necessarily good judgment.
It's not one of my finer moments.
Well, I wouldn't do it. Would you do that?
No. Well, I didn't have any reason to think that she would screw me over.
Except that she's a high school kid.
I found out later she called me and said her parents had kicked her out because she'd stayed out one night partying, and they were very strict.
That's incorrect, Your Honor.
That is
I don't know what the
grossly
reason
incorrect.
is that you weren't staying with your parents. It certainly wasn't the cock and bull story that you gave me at the beginning of this
She
case.
had stolen
that
their
they wanted
credit
to see
card,
if you
Your
could manage
Honor.
on your own. Listen, you're not entitled to a thing. I don't know where your computer is. I don't know where your snowboard is. I don't know where any of these things are after a year. Madam, you are entitled to nothing as a result of your bad judgment. If you had to clean up after her, that's what you did. The loss of your car is not her fault. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She turned my home into a bordello.
She lived in filth, and I cleaned it up.
She had several overnight guests, males, multitudes of them.
Her family's white trash.
She was a tramp, and she was a troublemaker and a thief.
Don't associate with white trash.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Olenichuk Robinson versus Crandall. Step forward, please.
21-year-old homemaker Jennifer Olenichuk and her boyfriend, carpenter Michael Robertson, are suing their former friend, 22-year-old fast food worker Jennifer Crandall, for money owed and for vandalism to their property.
Miss Olenichuk, you and the defendant were good friends, according to what I've read, for about 7 years. And there came a time, it was past summer, that, according to you at least, the defendant was thrown out of her house. She lived with her parents or her mother, along with her child. And you volunteered to take her into your house that you share with your boyfriend.
Right.
She did, in fact, move in with you. And when was that?
June 1st, 2002.
And how old is your child?
11 months old.
And the child came with you?
Yes.
And it was your agreement, according to you, that she would take care of some chores around the house, pay some minimal rent.
Right.
She'll claim it didn't work out. You told her to leave because you believed that she had stolen some money from you. You changed the locks on the door. She came home. She got angry when she found out the locks were changed. She vandalized your house, vandalized your car. Ms.
Right.
Crandall says she owes you nothing. She didn't cause any damage.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It appeared that she was drinking. We were screaming at each other and yelling. She went to her car, got a crowbar out of her trunk, and went at my trunk with her crowbar.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer Olenichuk and her boyfriend Michael Robertson claim former roommate Jennifer Crandall owes for vandalism to their property and unpaid rent. Jennifer says the couple locked her out.
So when did you find that she had stolen money from you? What makes you think she stole money from you?
On August 8th, I was at work. I got paid $200 in cash. I came home late that night. We had a fight because I had used Jenny's car to go to work, and I came home late.
So she was angry with you?
Yes, very angry. We went to bed very late. The next morning, we woke up, and Jenny was gone with Cheyenne, and I went in my purse, and I was missing a $100 bill. Usually she left a note when she left. She left no note that morning, and she didn't call right away. She didn't call for a few hours after that. Then when I did talk to her when she called, she had told me that her and her sister-in-law had been at the mall getting some toys for Cheyenne and this, that, and the other. And I had asked her, you know, well, you were kind of broke yesterday. And she had told me that she took exactly $100 off of an account that she has at the bank.
Okay. So?
After that, she didn't come home all day. I went back and forth with deciding whether or not I actually wanted to be kind of mean about it and just do things the way I did. And at like the last minute, I decided. And I packed up all her and her child's stuff and put it outside. She came home about 5 minutes later, and that's when things just escalated. I was in the house the whole time watching out the window. It appeared that she was drinking. She, of course, tried to get in the door to come upstairs, and she noticed that the locks was changed. And there was a lot of yelling going on. She then started throwing rocks at the windows because I live on the second story, and sometimes you don't hear people knocking.
Then it went from that to, of course, I didn't open the window or answer at all. I was scared that if I went downstairs...
You weren't sure about it.
That if I went downstairs, there'd be a physical confrontation, which didn't need to happen after everything else. She used the neighbor's phone and called about, 6 or 7 times. Why don't you come downstairs? This is ridiculous. You're being a...
Why did you decide to go the nasty route? I mean, you said, I debated whether or not to go the nasty route, back and forth, and finally I decided to go the nasty route. Why?
Well, and we've had a lot of problems with the friendship in the last 7 years, and the night before, like I said, we had gotten in a big fight.
Because you used her car, and you kept the car out longer than you were supposed to. That was the wrong thing to do.
Right.
So why did that end up with you doing the nasty thing and throwing her things out?
Because it was very, very loud and escalated the night before. We were screaming at each other and yelling, and I said, okay, I've already apologized 3 or 4 times, I'm sorry. And finally I was just like, well, why don't you just leave then? And when I said, why don't you just leave, she said, no, I'm not leaving. Well, then when the stuff happened the next morning, I was scared that, again, inside my house this time, I would have the same fight of, no, I'm not going to leave. So I just did things the way that I did, more or less to save.
Nasty.
Right, very nasty.
So what do you think she owes you?
The night that the whole thing happened, August 9th, after she was angry that I changed the locks, she was trying to kick in my door. It didn't open, but she messed up the door. I do have pictures. We had to replace the lock again after I just changed it. The molding was pulled away from the door, and then after that, she realized, I don't know if she realized she wasn't going to get it open, or she just got sick of kicking at it. She went over to her car, and she was yelling stuff about, she had some tools that were stored in my trunk, because I have a very small apartment. She went to her car, got a crowbar out of her trunk, and went at my trunk with her crowbar.
Anybody ever tell you that you had to give her some notice before you changed the locks on her? You just locked her out with her 11-month-old baby.
She was already planning on moving.
What I'm telling you is, you did it in a disorganized fashion over an incident that was your fault. You took her car and kept it without her permission.
No, that's not why I kicked her out. The reason I kicked her out was the money.
She's not the only one who lives in your house.
No, but my...
She's not the only one who lives in your house?
Right.
I don't know whether she took your money or not. You still are obliged. She's a rent-paying tenant to give her notice, and you didn't. You just can't say, well, I don't like this tenancy anymore. I'm changing the locks and throwing your stuff out. That doesn't work. And you yourself told me.
Versus Martinez.
Thanks, Bert.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Williams, you were working a security detail at a boat casino. Where was this?
This was in Illinois.
According to your complaint, a fight broke out aboard the boat, and you were in the process of escorting the defendant who was involved in that fight off the boat. Another altercation ensued, and you allege that the defendant, during the course of that altercation, when he was trying to punch somebody else, punched you in the jaw instead, and you were seriously injured.
Correct.
The defendant says it wasn't him. Did you see the beginning of the fight inside the casino?
No, I was on an assignment inside the casino, but when I heard over my radio that a fight had broken out, I proceeded to go to that location where the fight was happening.
All right, Mr. Martinez, so then I'm going to you, sir. You were gambling at the casino?
Right.
Tell me about the fight that broke out. You bumped into each other and you started to exchange words.
Right, and then alcohol was involved.
So you were drunk?
Right.
And who bumped into whom?
He bumped into me in the washroom. So on the way out, he was already outside waiting for me.
What do you mean he bumped into you?
We just bumped into each other. And then...
It wasn't, an intentional hitting or anything else?
No. And I kind of said, excuse me. He kind of said some, some remarks.
So you bumped him?
He bumped me.
Okay. And then he was waiting for you outside?
Right. And then that's when the whole commotion started out outside the casino.
Well, what happened outside? Do you remember? Were you too drunk to remember? Do you remember?
He exchanged some words with me. I exchanged some words with him too. And then he got into my face, and then we started, wrestling and all that inside the casino. The security team came, broke us apart. We were walking out of the casino. They failed to restrain him. So he came out of nowhere while I was being restrained by the security team. He hit me. So when he hit me, I tried to hit him back. He was swinging too at the same time. And she was in the middle of the way. She got hit. I'm sorry she got hit, but it was not me who hit her. I
How do you
think
know
she's
that?
the wrong person.
How do you know that it wasn't you who hit her?
I know.
How do you know?
Well, I don't really know if I hit her or not.
That's better. What time had you arrived at the casino?
Around 2 o'clock in the morning.
What time did this incident happen?
2:30, 3, maybe an
Where
hour.
had you been before?
before, we were at a club.
From what time to what time?
11 to 2 in the morning when it was closing.
So you did most of your drinking at the club?
Right.
Why didn't you go home after the club if you were so drunk?
Well, we want to go have some more fun.
All right. Now, Miss Williams, you're restraining the defendant on your way out of the club.
Actually, I was walking Rito off the boat because he had sustained an injury to his face.
He?
Yeah, and I was an EMT.
He's the
on boat.
defendant?
Yes.
You were escorting the defendant off the
Correct,
boat.
because he had been injured.
How were you escorting him?
I just walked him off the boat.
You weren't holding on to him?
No, actually, I was telling him what way he needed to walk off the boat because while we were on the boat, I noticed that he had sustained an injury to his face. I didn't know if he had broken his nose or cut his lip or whatever, so I put my gloves on to start helping him. As I walked him off the boat, he walked out one way, I walked out another. I was standing there talking to him. He walked around, shook my manager's hand, at which point Mr. walked off the boat, and that's when he hit Rito in the side of the face.
Again?
Yes.
Well, you don't know who hit
I
him
don't
the
know.
first
I don't,
time,
right,
but he was
correct.
hit for a second time at least on the side of his face.
Correct.
And then what happened?
At which point Rito's brother was also present at this. He went to make the first hit back at Mr. because Rito had stumbled back. Everyone was pushing and shoving. At that point, I tried to get control of Mr. to get him handcuffed, and that's when Rito was basically the only one left standing at that point, jumped back into the fight, which he really didn't need to because there was police officers and other security agents there. He jumped back in, threw 3 punches, and the third one hit me.
Threw 3 punches at whom?
He was attempting to hit Mr. to
Did he
retaliate.
land any of the other punches on Mr.?
He might have hit one, but by that point we had pushing them apart.
So he continued to swing?
Correct.
And there is no question in your mind that it was Mr. Martinez who punched you?
Absolutely not, because when I was assisting him on the boat with his injuries, walking him off the boat, he had a tan sweater on with khaki pants. The sweater had been ripped open at the collar, he had blood on his face, and when he was proceeding to make those punches, I saw the exact same thing, the ripped open sweater at the neckline, which I have photos of, there's police photos of the ripped sweater and everything. So I have no doubt in my mind that it was him who hit me.
All right, can you tell me about your injuries?
When he hit me, again, I have a video of it. It's difficult to see, but I do get hit directly on the chin.
You have a video of
I have
being
a video
assaulted?
Yes, I have
Can
a
I
video
see
of
it,
this.
please?
Sure. I'll need to describe what's going on. It's not very clear, but I can show you. Okay, this is Rito right here walking off the boat. He's trying to hold a sweater. He shook my manager's hand. This is me. He gets punched. His brother goes in. 1, 2, 3. I just got hit. I black out a little bit. I reach for my handcuffs to handcuff Mr. Okay, he gets hit. His brother jumps in. 1, 2, 3. I just get hit. I bend down to get my handcuffs and go to secure Mr.
That's Mr. Martinez who threw the 3 punches?
Yes, yes it is.
Okay, now tell me about your injuries.
After getting hit, I felt a burning sensation and a pop on my right jaw, and my jaw immediately locked up. I could not open it or move it in any way. I finished handcuffing Mr. and at which point I was telling the other security officers, you know, I've just been hit in the jaw and I'm hurt. I proceed to go to the bathroom to see how bad my injuries are. My chin is swollen up, very red, and again locked up. I proceed to the IGB office where all 3 were being detained and being arrested, and informed my supervisor that I had been hit and I was injured and that I needed to get to the hospital because I didn't know if I was.
Report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Those are the medical bills. And I have a breakdown of the medical bills, but then the second batch is the medical report, basically just stating that they found that I had a contusion to my jaw. When I got off of work, I went to my oral surgeon where they did another review. The disc had been displaced in my jaw. I've had a headache basically ever since the day it's happened. I was on a 12-day no-chew diet. I still can't eat solid foods to this day without severe pain and popping in my jaw. I had a surgery beginning of this year to see if that would help make the disc move back into place. That's been unsuccessful. I do have one other surgery that I can have, however that runs a high risk of hitting the facial nerve in my face that could cause facial paralysis.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Security officer Lori Williams says Rito Martinez is responsible for her injuries. Lori claims while fighting with another man, Rito hit her in the jaw.
Who performed the first surgery for you?
Dr. I've only had just the one surgery.
And one perhaps anticipated.
Right, but like I said, it runs a high risk. I can either just live the way I am right now or try the other surgery, but again, running the risk of having the nerve damage and facial paralysis, which I really don't want to have done.
Mm-hmm. How old are you?
I just turned 30.
So, Mr. Martinez, let me tell you what this says. This says that there is an anterior displacement of the disc on the right in the closed mouth position with a reduction in the open mouth position. And then there is some indication that because of the way that she cannot open her mouth anymore, there is some degenerative change. She is 30 years old, and as a result of what you did on that evening, while intoxicated, because that's what started it all,
right,
she is going to probably spend the rest of her life with some discomfort.
Right, I mean, sorry she got hit. I mean, it was my intention was not to hit her. You know?
Well, you wouldn't have been involved in this whole fracas if you hadn't been drunk.
Right, right.
And I assume you voluntarily drank. Nobody put a funnel in your mouth, right? So that you caused the condition yourself that resulted in the altercation on the casino floor, which extended outside. The video is clear that there were 3 serious punches thrown. One hit her. She's suing you for $5,000. That's almost like a bargain. How old are you?
32.
So you're about the same age. Can you imagine spending the next 40 or 50 years not being able to chew without some sort of discomfort?
No.
Your evening for fun's going to cost you $5 grand, Mr. Martinez. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just want to apologize to her about the whole incident.
He didn't need to retaliate because there was plenty of people there to help him out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mullen versus Taylor. Step forward, please.
Restaurant manager Robert Mullen is suing his son's ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old college student Christina Taylor, for the return of furniture.
Mr. Mullen, I assume that this young man over here is your son. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
The defendant is his former girlfriend. Correct. According to your complaint, there came a time recently when they decided to move in together. You purchased some furniture and gave them some furniture for their apartment. They subsequently broke up, and you want your stuff back. Is that what this is about?
That's close, Your Honor. I don't want furniture back any longer. I've attempted for over 7 months now to get this furniture back, and I had a son moving out in September going away to college, and he needed some furniture, so I ended up purchasing some new furniture for him. This furniture that she has would just be sitting in the garage now.
So you want money from her?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, let's see. Why don't you step up here, young man? Your name is?
Dan Mullen.
Dan.
Mm-hmm.
When did you move in with Miss Taylor?
June of 2000.
You moved in together to an apartment that you leased together, or you moved in to her apartment?
That we leased together. We both moved in June.
And what was your share of the rent?
$360, I believe.
Your Honor, it was $260.
Well, clearly if he had paid it, he would have known what the amount was. $260. That was your share.
Yeah.
And how long was the lease?
12 months. June to June.
When did you move out?
November.
Did she ask you to leave?
No. I moved back on my own.
Why did you do that?
I wasn't happy in the city. I wasn't happy living there, so I decided to leave.
And from November until June, I assume that you paid her your half of the rent.
I paid the landlord, Your Honor, and for the rest of the lease. And,
you paid?
I paid.
Now, when your son moved into the apartment, tell me about the furniture that you purchased.
We purchased him a new bed, a new kitchen table and 2 chairs and 2 end tables, and we gave him a TV and a stereo from the house.
Why didn't you take this property with you if you thought it was your property?
At the time, I didn't have a place to store it. She needed a bed. I just wanted to just cut all ties, and then when she would come back from school, then I'd go pick it up. I'd let the rest of the roommates use the furniture because there was a kitchen table. They wouldn't have a kitchen table. So I just wanted them to have some furniture, I guess.
What do you mean you guess? You just left?
Yeah.
And when you came home without the furniture, did you have a conversation with your father?
Yes. I told them I was going to let them have the furniture until the end of the year, and then I'd go pick it up.
And what did he say to you?
He said, well, make sure you get the furniture back.
When for the first time did you ask her for the furniture back, sir?
I believe Dan asked her for it back in May and made arrangements for us to go down there in May or in June, and that's when we started to get the waltz around the mulberry bush, you know, that she'd be there next week or the week after she was going on vacation. Then I think my wife took over in August and started calling Christina, and Christina started stating that she had some bills that Dan needed to get taken care of, and my wife asked her what they were, and she said she'd send us copies of them, and she's never, to date, she has not done any of that.
Now, Miss Taylor, this furniture that was brought in by Dan, did you view that as his furniture?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you return it? He let you keep it until the end of the school year. Why didn't you return it?
Well, the reason he did not take his furniture when he left was because it was a common understanding that he owed me money for a trip to Acapulco, a weekend trip in the Dells, cash payment for bail, and bills. And I have
did you owe her any
evidence
money,
about
sir?
this.
I always said that I'd pay her $250. That's what I...
Did you owe her any money when you left?
$250. Yes.
Did you pay her?
No, I offered to pay her on several occasions. When I was going to go down and pick up the furniture, I told her I'd come down with a check for $250.
Well, you said $250. She seems to think it's a lot more than $250.
Much more than $250.
Yeah, I paid for the trip to Acapulco on my half. I paid for that. We decided that we'd take a trip to the Wisconsin Dells, and she would pay for my half of the way, and I'd pay her back $250.
Okay, and he hasn't.
Correct.
What did you do with the furniture?
The furniture is still at the apartment.
So what you're saying is you were holding this furniture as collateral.
Correct. And he said I could do so when he moved out. He said, keep it here until I can pay you back everything that I owe you.
Mr. Mullen, you gave this furniture to your son, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
It was a gift.
No, it was not. I was loaning it to him.
No, that's not true, sir. That's not true, Mr. Mullen. You gave the furniture to your son. You had no contract with her. You had no agreement with the defendant. What you had is an arrangement with your son. I am giving you furniture. Were you in school?
Yes.
You were in college. You did what every other parent does. They furnished the apartment, right? This was not a loan to him. You made him a gift. So let's look at the law of gift. Your son left this furniture there as collateral for bills that he owed the defendant. It was his furniture to do whatever he wanted to do with. He could give it away, he could sell it, he could do whatever he wanted with it. He chose to leave it as collateral for money that he owed. And I'm not getting into the amount of money that he owed, because clearly there's a discrepancy, but he says he at least owes $250, right? Which he hasn't paid.
I offered to pay it on several occasions.
I don't care. You're not part of this lawsuit, except you really should be, because if your father made you a gift, then your father really has no interest in this furniture anymore. It's really your furniture.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It was a gift, Mr. Mullen. You know it was a gift, and I know it was a gift. You gave your son other furniture when your other child moved away and went to college?
That's correct.
Did you have him sign a contract that he would get
No,
this
I did
furniture
not.
back?
No, I did not.
And I assume that if he has a little bit of a party there and the furniture gets damaged and the furniture gets stained from beer bottles and et cetera, you're not going to sue him, are you? No, because it was a gift. So you got to deal with your boy. Your boy's got to take care of his property. Can't be a fool. If when he moved out a year ago, he wanted his property back, what he does is he says, I'm going back home, I'm going to take property and I'm going to store it in my father's garage. Or I have a brother who's going to be going away to college and he's going to need the furniture, I take it with me. That's what a responsible person does. Because I think that there's some truth in what she says, that you said, well, keep the furniture there until I pay you what I owe you. Right?
Okay.
What do you mean, okay?
Yes, I agreed with you.
Oh, fine. Well, that's not okay. That's yes. That's what I said. So you haven't paid her back what you owe her. This was your gift. It's your property. When you pay her, she'll give you back the furniture. Goodbye.
246 on the calendar in the matter of Brown versus Wilson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Brown, Miss Wilson is your former girlfriend. And you claim she got really angry at you one night because she thought you were with another woman, an ex-girlfriend of yours. She came over to your house. You didn't answer the door. You looked out the window. You saw her leave, and she keyed your car. Right?
No.
What'd you do?
She did keep my car, but I wasn't home. I was at my neighbor's house. My cousin was the one who answered the door. When she came to the door, he said, "Did you see your girl? Your girl just left."
Listen to me. I didn't ask for a whole story from you yet.
All right, I was just
Who
correct.
saw her key your car?
I saw her key my car.
All right.
I went out my back door when my cousin told me that he said, "Did you see your girl? She just left."
Shh. Don't tell me what anybody said to you. That's hearsay. You saw her key your car.
Correct. I went out my back door. I was trying to tell you where I saw her at.
Miss Wilson says she was really mad, but she didn't do it.
Correct. But he wanted home.
Miss Wilson.
Yes.
How long was he your boyfriend?
I met Curtis in April, and we broke up in like July or whatever. So it wasn't a long engagement.
Okay. Now, there came a time when you went over to his house?
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
Whatever the day in question was.
What's the date?
The date was July 15th, if I am mistaken.
Okay. So you went over to his house for what purpose?
Okay. I called him on his cell phone. Nobody answered. Judge, I bought this cell phone for him. So the least he could do is answer the phone, you know what I'm saying? So I called it like 50 times. Nobody answers. So I live in Norfolk, he lives in Newport News. So I drive through the tunnel all the way to his house. So his car is parked not in front of his house, but on the side by the garbage can. So I'm like, okay, here he go with something that's not quite right. So I knock on the door. I see a woman look out the window. Now keep in mind, Curtis is still married to his wife. So I see the girl look out the window. I'm like, okay. So I'm knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door. Finally, music pumping in the bedroom, sounds coming out the bedroom. I'm not stupid, Your Honor. So finally, he sent his cousin to the door. Kurt, not here. I'm like, I just seen a girl in the bedroom. Oh, that was me. Okay, so now you got long hair and all this stuff? Oh, well, that was me. Kurt's not here. So by this time, I had went to the window before I even knocked on the door. I put my ear up to the window, trying to hear everything. I heard the music, I heard her, and I heard him. So I was filming, yeah, I was mad, but I left. I was really, really angry. I got in my car, and I left, and that was the end of it.
Good. Miss Wilson, you said Curtis is married.
Yes.
Is he living with his wife?
No.
Are they separated?
No.
Yes.
So shh,
yeah, right.
Quiet. So, Miss Wilson, what are you doing fooling around with a married man who's not separated from his wife?
Well, he didn't tell me in the beginning, I swear. He did not tell me in the beginning. You asked Curtis.
But then he told you.
But then he told me he told me they were separated. But then I talked to her herself. She said they wasn't.
Now tell me, Mr. Brown, tell me what you saw Miss Wilson do to your car.
Okay. I came out my back door, and I used my back door. I don't use the front door. I used my back door to go in my house.
Just tell me what you saw.
I went out my back door. I was coming off the side of my building to the parking lot. I saw her exiting the hood of my car, going towards her car. She was walking like, say, this is my car. She was walking away. So I seen her scratching the hood of my car.
No,
let me see pictures of the car.
So she had to scratch. My car won't like that before.
Well,
Mr. Brown,
She called me as soon as she left. She called me on my cell phone as soon as she left.
And what'd she say when she called you?
She said, you gonna be real mad at me in a minute. I'm like, why? She said, you ain't gonna want to talk to me no more.
No, that is not
why?
how it happened.
She was like, after you see what I done, you ain't gonna want to talk to me no more.
Did I ever say I keyed your car?
Yep.
When key, Bishop, Miss Wilson. Listen to me. I want you to be very, very quiet when I say this to you, Miss Wilson.
Okay.
Very quiet. You keyed his car.
No, I didn't.
Can I
it
say
was
one
his
more
baby
thing?
mama that keyed his car, probably, or all them other girls that was on. He just mad because he can't figure out which one it is because he's sleeping with so many women, so he want to pin it on me.
Can I say one thing, Your Honor?
Just a minute. Put your hands down. You keyed his car.
I didn't key his car, Judge Judy.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you did. If I had called him 50 times and he didn't answer the phone and I went over there and I was still his girlfriend and I went into his house and saw him fooling around with somebody else, you're lucky she didn't blow up your car.
Exactly.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I was true to her.
Yeah, whatever.
I was at my neighbor's house.
But you just lying all over the court.
And later today,
Listen to me.
They told me to
And the
leave, and I
police-
left, and then she was supposed to come back.
Whose mouth is moving?
Both years.
And if both of that mouths are moving, who wins?
Judge Judy wins.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Curtis Brown says ex-lover Tabitha Wilson keyed his car. Tabitha says the culprit was probably another one of Curtis's girlfriends.
Can I see the bill? I believe you when you say you saw her over at your car.
How can you believe that?
I believe it.
Come out the house.
I believe it.
I came out the back door.
I believe it.
Oh my God.
What year car is this?
It's a 94 Ford Taurus.
You remember they used to have a company called Earl Shy Painting Your Car or something like that? You know, they painted it for $2.99 or something like that.
$2.99, $9.99.
What's this $2,232?
I went to Mako.
What?
I went to Mako. That's the estimate they gave me.
Go cheaper.
Because they said the
Go.
scratches that's deep is so deep into the paint, it's almost in the metal.
Oh, well, then every time you look at it, when you get a cheaper paint job, you're going to think about
Ain't gonna be
being
to see
true.
myself,
When you
it's
think of
gonna be
being
cheap.
true to one lady.
Yeah.
Or maybe two ladies.
I was true to her.
Yeah, whatever.
I was at my neighbor's house.
But you just lying all over the court.
My cousin answered the door. My cousin is light skinned.
Mr. Brown.
My baby mama is light skinned.
Mr. Brown, get your car painted for $250 because I'm going to tell you something. That's all you're going to get from this court. Listen to me. $2,000, but you got it out of your system. You got it out of your system for $250. Do you feel better? Do you feel better?
Yes.
Good. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I went over to the boy house and then the lady gonna look out the window. Duh, play. Duh.
I want no player. I won't dare. I was out with my neighbor.
It really doesn't matter to me. All he got was $250.
I just know not to mess with crazy girls, and she crazy, man.
I'm mad because you was there with your baby mama and you ain't had to come out here and just tell me to go home.
She could have done something else besides scratch my car. So that was kind of, that tell you, only a crazy person do something like that, man.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Pedrosa versus Collazo. Step forward, please.
20-year-old stay-at-home mom, Christina Pedrosa, is suing the father of her child, 22-year-old construction worker David Collazo, for the return of her belongings. David says Christina is keeping him from seeing his child.
Miss Pedrosa, you and the defendant have a young child together. Baby is about a year old. And you lived together for a short period of time, separated, and it is your claim that the defendant kept certain property that you amassed together that you should have. And that also you had certain of your personal property, clothes and stuff, that the defendant trashed or got rid of. Mr. Collazo said he kept what was his, what he paid for, and that he gave you ample opportunity to get your stuff, and he put it out on the porch, and it's gone. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell me when you lived together.
2000, 2001, 2002.
And when was your daughter born?
August 8th, last year.
And who is this?
This is my father.
When did you separate? When did you move out with the baby?
Like 4 months ago.
Is that right? You moved out in June?
Yes.
When you left in June, what property did you take with you?
The baby's clothes and her dresser and her little knickknacks, and that's it. He wouldn't let me get anything else. When I went in, I've got the police reports from when I lived with them. The police was called. The day that we went there to pick up this stuff, I had the police come with me, but he was so drunk, he was acting crazy. And
This is a lot more information than I think I should. This is
Okay.
a,
Get your stuff.
Mr. Collazo,
I was
don't
drunk.
talk to
You wouldn't
Mr.
let me.
Collazo, don't talk to her. Talk to me. You want to talk to her? go outside. You want to talk in court? You talk to me. I want to know what property it is that you think that you are entitled to, Ms. Pedroso, and let's do it quickly, please, because I'm beginning to lose it.
Everything that I paid for, my recliner.
Well, you tell me what you paid for.
Okay. I've got receipts for my recliner that I paid for.
All right, recliner. Just a second. Right. Recliner. Go ahead.
My dining room table and chairs.
Yes.
My bed.
It means that's the bed that you and Mr. Collazo shared.
Yeah.
I told you could have everything.
Shh, Mr. Collazo. You're going to have a turn. I give everybody a turn.
I'm sorry.
If they're good, they get a turn. If they're not good, they don't. Go ahead.
My clothes bag. He took all my clothes.
Oh.
I left them right there when Mr. Officer told me to leave them.
Now, you purchased a recliner, a table and chairs, and the bed. What did you purchase it with?
My credit card.
So you don't mind if she gets the recliner, table and chairs, and bed, right?
Yeah, they don't bother me.
No, I want you to listen to me. Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
She can come and get
She could come and get it.
the recliner, table and chairs, and bed.
The recliner, tables, and chairs in bed.
Perfect, because they're on her credit card. You don't have to repeat that. And she is responsible for paying for it. Fine. So you're going to get your recliner, table, and chairs in bed, pick them up within 5 days. You bring the U-Haul it. What's next?
I have a washer and dryer also.
Was that also purchased on your credit card?
No.
Well, who purchased it?
That was given to me by my father. He purchased it from my brother.
Is that right?
Yes.
Washer and dryer? Did you buy that, Mr. Collazo?
No, but I helped her buy all the other stuff that she had.
What other stuff?
Girl.
Shh. What other stuff, Mr. Collazo?
Everything she wants.
No, just a
I
minute,
paid
but
for
it's
that
on her
stuff.
credit card.
I didn't pay for all of it.
When did you work?
Huh?
Don't, Miss Pedroso.
I still pay for it.
Don't irritate me. I'm ready to kiss you both goodbye.
Your Honor.
Speak not. That's it. She's also going to get the washer and dryer because her father gave it to her as a gift.
Yeah.
Right? So, recliner, table and chairs, bed, washer and dryer. You got it. Now, your clothes? Should have gotten your clothes when you went to pick up the baby's things in the dresser. Because he put the clothes out on the front porch. He doesn't have them anymore.
Listen, I went there with the cops, the sheriff.
Police.
The police. Yes. There was one cop. When I went there, I
Yeah,
tried
you
to
trying
get...
to come in my crib when I'm asleep. You gonna come in my house while I'm sleeping? Just so you
Mr.
had the keys.
Collazo.
Drunk,
Mr.
naked
Collazo.
on the chair.
Shh. Mr. Collazo.
It's my house. I was chilling.
What did you have a discussion with him, Bird? Sure. And then if he opens his mouth again, throw him out.
This is the best way I can explain to you. If you keep it up, she's going to throw you out, okay? And then I'd be forced to throw you out. You don't want that, do you?
Nah, Bob.
Okay, so you know what you do? Respect the court.
I'm
all
sorry.
right? Take your time. You all right?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Cool.
I'm sorry.
Where are her clothes?
I put them on the porch. The cop said, because I was like, why you guys come to my house for? Just because she had the keys. You was already gone.
No, look at me. Look at me. Don't look at her. I don't want you to look at her. You put her clothes on the porch?
Mm-hmm. Right in front of the cop.
And
And he's like,
listen to me.
He told me to
And the
leave, and I
police-
left, and then she was supposed to come back.
Whose mouth is moving?
Both ears.
And if both of our mouths are moving, who wins?
Judge Judy wins.
Just answer me. You put the clothes on the porch at the direction of a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're
Yes,
telling
ma'am.
me? Were you present? The answer is yes or no.
I wasn't present when the clothes were put there, ma'am, but I was there when we went to pick up the clothes. Pick up her stuff a couple times with the chief of police.
Step up.
So I had no warrant coming
I have.
And what happened?
When we got there, David was very argumentative. He was drunk, and he was yelling at us to get out of his house. He was starting to push the chief around. The chief says, I don't need this, because he's a short guy. He's getting ready to call backup. And then he says, you know what, because they started arguing in the trailer. And then he said, well, you know what, why don't you guys just leave, get the baby stuff out, and you just go to court and get your stuff. But Christina's clothes, Your Honor, were still in the trailer. He wouldn't let him take it. Then, when he told her to come and get her stuff, she went there. There was no police, from my understanding, because I talked to the chief. No police officers went there when he said he put the clothes out there. There was no clothes out.
You don't know that. Mr. Collazo, you
Your
want to
Honor?
be a smart man? Shh, quiet. You want to be a smart man?
One day.
I want all of those things ready. And I want them all in reasonable condition. I don't want you to do anything nasty to them, because now I'm going to get to you with regard to seeing your daughter.
Thank you.
Okay. You have a drinking problem, Mr. Collazo? Been around the town for a long time. You have a drinking problem, Mr. Collazo. Because if you didn't have either a drinking problem or another problem with substances, you wouldn't be behaving the way that you are in court today. So you got a little bit of spirit from someplace other than your soul today before you came to court. I don't want to go into it with you, but I'm going to tell you this. If you made a baby, look at me. If you made a baby,
take care of my daughter.
Listen to me. If you made a baby, you have an obligation. You have an obligation to be a father. And that means having a job, being sober, making arrangements to see your daughter, and if she, for some reason, wants... You're not paying attention, sir. And I have to conclude that since you know who I am, that the reason you're not paying attention to what I'm telling you is because you are a little bit high. So I want you to listen to me. She can't have you around a child who's a year old.
Punk boyfriend don't want to be smoking weed by my daughter.
Just a second. Mr. Collazo, look at me. What you're telling me is that Miss Pedroso is not behaving properly.
Yeah, but...
And not... Are you listening? Yeah. Or are you listening to your inner voices? You have to see to it that you see your daughter by going to court, asking for an order of visitation, saying, I do everything right. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I have a job. I'm prepared to regularly support my daughter. I want to be able to see her. And if she doesn't let you do it and doesn't let you see your daughter, judge is going to say to her, I'm going to take the child away from you.
Yeah, then where's she going to go?
She's going to come and live with you.
No, Your Honor, you know what? I have no problem with him seeing his daughter, but he is doing this, getting drunk, getting high, and...
How you know? You ain't
Because I know,
Miss Pedroso.
I go to work every morning. I wake up at 5:30 every single morning. What do you do?
No.
You shake your
but
butt
he
for
paid
$1.
$50 for her birthday, and that's it.
Put him out. He doesn't get it.
He paid $50 for her birthday.
Pay careful attention to me because I can't talk over two people talking. That's not the way I run this place. If he's not doing the right thing, and if you feel as if your daughter is at risk if she spends time with him, then you're right. But if he gets his act together, it's not right for you. You picked him. You had this baby with him.
I told him that. If he right now he's got a job, yay. But he's still on drinking, doing drugs, and he's not responsible for that.
If he is,
and he doesn't
then you
pay
are
nothing.
right. If he is, then you're right. And he shouldn't see the child unless you're comfortable that the child is safe with him.
That's all I'm saying.
That's all. Meanwhile, you go and pick up 5 days. We'll prepare the order. The recliner table and chairs, bed, washer, dryer, goodbye.
This is Cannon.
Good. Thank you, Bird.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Bird, would you do me a favor, please? You know that pesky fly that we had around here a couple of months ago?
Yep.
Well, he's been resurrected. So could you get me one of those little things that you got me before this?
No problem.
Thank you very much. And Miss Pickering and Mr. Cannon look like two well-behaved people, so I can manage without you for a minute.
Be right back.
Thank you. Miss Pickering, according to your complaint, you and the defendant were in a relationship and you made a loan to him. It was a loan so that he could take a trip, some sort of a bus trip, a sports trip with some other men. And you want the money back because the relationship is over.
Yes.
Mr. Cannon says that there was never a loan, that this was sort of a quid pro quo because he had arranged for refinancing on your house at some point. I know you're smiling. We'll get to it.
Okay.
He had arranged for refinancing on your house, saved you a whole bunch of money, and you agreed that he would be paid by you financing this trip. That's your defense.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, miss. Yeah.
I know it was on the lip. But I'll get it. Anyway, thank you. So, Ms. Pickering, were you and the defendant living together?
No, Your Honor, we were not. We were dating.
Objection.
Listen to me. Listen. Don't interrupt her. Do you understand? You will have an opportunity to speak when she's finished.
Yes, ma'am.
Go.
When I divorced my husband and moved back to South Carolina, Mr. Cannon was one of the people contracted to move my furniture back to South Carolina from Georgia. I was reintroduced to him at that time. We went to middle school together. Immediately after I returned, we began dating.
But never lived together?
Never lived together, but he spent most of the time with me. It was very, we talked about getting married. He talked about how it was destiny for us to be together.
Don't frustrate me.
Yes, ma'am. I was just saying, let's get to
No.
Yes.
When I look at your direction and ask you a question, you're going to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than that, you're not going to speak.
Okay.
So when I said you didn't live together, the answer was we didn't live together, we dated.
We dated.
Fine. Tell me about this loan that you made to him, when that was, because there were two parts of the loan.
Exactly. Mr. Cannon and I had been supportive of each other, making small loans back and forth financially to help each other out when needed during the time that we dated. This particular occasion, in October, he sponsored a trip for the guys.
October of what year?
October of 2001. He sponsored a trip to a Falcons football game in Atlanta. At some point, he did not have the money to pay for the tickets. So he asked me if he could borrow the money.
How much money did he need?
It was $960 for the tickets. Although we had exchanged money before loaning process, I felt very uncomfortable with this amount.
Well, had the previous loans been smaller loans?
They had been much smaller, $50, $100, $150. So, and it had been repaid. Because I felt uncomfortable, I wrote the check to the travel agency.
Can I see that, please?
I would not write it to him, nor would I give him cash. I was under the assumption that when the guys boarded the bus, that they would pay the remaining balance. When they returned from the trip, I heard of how wonderful it was.
When was the trip?
The trip was in November.
Okay.
I heard of how wonderful it was and received a magnet, but not my money.
Okay.
At that point, I did not question him about it. I was hoping that he would do the right thing because, once again, this is someone I wanted to marry. Later on, in the 11th, November, he also borrowed money again and again in December.
Well, what did he borrow money in November for?
I was under the impression that it was Christmas gifts. During this time, I've been throwing hints that I wanted an engagement ring. I'm hoping that this was for that purpose.
So you were giving him money hoping that he would buy you a ring?
I was giving him money hoping that it would help him purchase the Christmas gifts for his children and then have extra to do what I wanted him to do.
How much did you give him in November?
In November, I gave him a check of $135, and I clearly marked on there that it was a loan. And in December, I also gave a check of $50, and I marked that that was a loan as well.
Miss Pickering, he hadn't paid you back the October money yet. Why are you giving him more money?
At that time, we were talking about moving in together. I was, lack of a better judgment, I was a fool for love.
Right. Okay. I'm not interested in these two little loans. I'm not interested in that because that comes under the category of stupidity. If you lend somebody almost $1,000 and they don't pay you back when they get off the bus, and you lend them another $50 and another $135, then you're not too smart.
But once again, Your Honor, he was promising me the whole time, making promises. This is someone.
Promises of what?
Of commitment, of relationship.
Just a second.
Repaying.
I don't care about commitment relationship. That's not my job. You want to go commitment relationship? Go on Jerry Springer. If you want to come here, this is a court. Court, exactly. You talk about if he's making statements to you, he's making statements about returning the money.
Exactly.
That's all I'm interested in.
And he had returned money in the past, and I indicated that it was a loan on the check.
I understand that, madam. You're not following me. If you give somebody almost $1,000, which you said to me a moment ago was more money than you would ever given them, and you thoroughly expected him to have the money as soon as he put his keister back on land where you were, and all he gave you was a magnet.
Yes, sir.
Right? Then when he comes to you and says, I need another $135, I need another $50, you say, you're not getting another penny, my dear, until I get back my $960. And if you do, deal with it. And I don't want to hear about commitment. Commitment, we go someplace else. Commitment, we don't deal with here. All right. Let me hear from you.
I'm glad you settled that for me, Your Honor.
Don't thank me yet. I'm not finished with you. Where's her $960?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So I, being the wonderful person that I am, tried to save her a lot of money by letting her go through one of my mortgage brokers.
What did that cost you?
It didn't cost me anything. What it did save her thousands.
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kendra Pickering says ex-boyfriend Charles Cannon owes for the cost to attend a football game with his friends. Charles says he saved her thousands by helping to refinance her mobile home.
Go ahead.
Actually, it should be a balance of $40 owed to me.
Just tell me where, honey.
Because at the time, right before, I think it was right around September, I was working part-time selling mobile homes. By doing that, I was involved and had relationships with several different mortgage companies. At the time, Miss Pickering was talking about getting a house refinanced. She had went around to several different other mortgage companies.
I did
even
not.
I don't want to hear you.
Thank you.
Talking. Keep talking. I can multitask.
Actually, she was thinking about refinancing the house through the mortgage company she was in at the time that she was thinking about refinance. So I, being the wonderful person that I am, tried to save her a lot of money by letting her go through one of my mortgage brokers.
And what did that cost you?
Actually, it didn't cost me anything. What it did,
Right.
it saved her thousands.
Right. Didn't cost you anything.
So I agreed. I said, well, look, she's getting $13,000 back. I said, well, I agree to set you up with the guy. Just give me a $1,000 referral fee.
What kind of character are you?
We wasn't in a relationship. This is a kind of
a character
her
are you?
imagination of this marriage.
Listen to me. What kind of character are you?
Wonderful. You know,
No. No. Not wonderful. Not
I had
wonderful.
to pay. Could you quit
Not
asking?
wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
And don't tell me no relationship, because although I'm not entertaining these things, clearly she gave you this money.
Well, it wasn't to the extent that she's saying, you know.
Don't give me extent. Whether you have a little extent, sir, that's your problem, or a bigger extent, that's maybe everybody's problem. He has a smaller extent, he won't acknowledge that.
Well,
listen to me very carefully. If you have even a smaller extent relationship, which will be your long-term problem,
Yes, ma'am.
or not,
Yes, ma'am.
if you are in a relationship with somebody and intimate with somebody, and if they need something and it doesn't cost you anything, because you know somebody who could help her out getting refinancing for her house and you hook her up with that person, then you don't be a pig and say, well, I'm saving you all this money, so why don't you give me a little bit of money because I saved you all that money. You say, I'm glad I could do something nice for you.
I mean, but
I was
only doing the American way.
But do it the American way with somebody else that you're not sleeping with, sir.
Well, Your Honor,
Well,
this
don't
was
give
not-
me, well, Your Honor. You owe her $960. She gave it to you. Why don't you give the money back to her and say finished?
My point is, the big point is, this was not an issue until she came to my house one evening. I said, look, I don't want to be bothered. Okay, this was over a year after. She didn't file this till after a year after.
I don't want to hear. Yeah, so?
It wasn't a big issue till she came to my house.
Yeah.
Way out of control. I said, look, I don't want to be bothered. I'm ready to move on. And the police department had to come by. They told her, look, ma'am, you need to leave. And then she came up with the issues about the money. And they said, well, if that's the problem, you need to go file it in court.
So if this lady is saying to you, this is standing in the way of my moving forward, clearly you benefited from this money. Clearly I gave it to you, $960.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel as if I've been used. You don't want a relationship anymore, and you don't want to return the money. Relationship, I can't force you. But the money, I want you to pay me. Then you give her the money. It didn't cost you any money, right?
I didn't
So
get
you
my
act like a
referral fee.
man, whether you have a big commitment or a little commitment. You give her back the money. $960, judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He knows that he's made promises of love, commitment, gave me a ring at Christmas, and now he denies all of this?
It was spoken about.
I'm just in awe at how he could lie.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Oliveira versus Rodriguez. Step forward, please.
Painter Alejandro Oliveira is suing his ex-girlfriend, machinist Evie Rodriguez, for the return of his belongings and for vandalizing his van.
Mr. Oliveira, it is your claim that Miss Rodriguez, who used to be your girlfriend, vandalized your car and kept some of your property when she decided to terminate the relationship because she allegedly saw your vehicle in a motel, and she wasn't at the motel. She says she didn't touch your car, and you had plenty of time to get your property, and she doesn't have your property anymore. How long were you going out with her?
About 2 years.
Did you live together?
Yes.
And tell me when she vandalized your car.
The night that she seen my van at a hotel room.
What night was that?
Oh, I'm not sure the exact date, but
Better be sure, because if you're not sure, I can't hear your case.
in the middle of July, I would say like July 15th.
And where were you at the time that you observed her damaging your car?
I was at my friend Jacob's house.
Had you seen Miss Rodriguez at the motel? Did she try to get your attention?
Yes.
How did she try to get your attention, Mr. Oliveira?
She was yelling out my name, come out, and asking me to come out, and I wouldn't come out.
Okay, and you waited until she left?
Yes.
And what happened when you got to Jacob's house?
I was going to stay the night there, and then
She thought that would be a good idea.
Yeah. I heard some things going on outside, the same thing, pounding on the door, telling me to come outside. I wouldn't come outside, so then...
Why not?
Because I didn't want to deal with this girl. And she started bashing my windshield and my back window.
You have photographs?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I just didn't even think about doing that.
So why are you thinking about suing her now?
Because she took some personal belongings when we lived together, and I wanted them back. She wouldn't give them back, so...
Like what?
Couches, living room set, clothes.
You lived together for 2 years, sir. Are these things that you purchased when you were living together?
No, I had them prior.
When, for the first time, did you ask her for this property?
After we separated and...
Well, you separated, I assume, on July 15th.
Sure.
Yeah.
The day after. I asked her, I'm going to go get my stuff. She had already locked the doors. Then one day after that incident, she had threw all my things outside and said I better go and get them before somebody takes them.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alejandro Oliveira says ex-girlfriend Evie Rodriguez won't return his personal property.
Why didn't you go over there?
I was just drinking and I didn't want to drive, so I waited till the next day.
Oh, and what happened to all your stuff?
They were there, and I took the things I can, like small things, but I couldn't carry couches and the bigger things by myself, so I just waited. Yeah. And I told her to put the stuff back inside, and she refused to. Then she said they got stolen, but I know she took them because I seen them at her sister's house when I peeped through a window.
So the couches in her sister's house?
Yeah.
Does your sister have his couches?
No.
No? Who has his couches?
I told different people that there's stuff outside. If you want it, go get it.
That's good. Well, that's good. So they took him.
Yeah.
They came and they took it.
Yeah.
Did you bust his windows on his car?
No.
You didn't bust
You had a right to. You had a right to, in your own mind, I'm sure you thought, right?
I'm not the kind of person to do that. So.
Well, what I don't understand, Mr. Oliveira, is that if somebody vandalized my car like that and you want them to pay for it and you want to bring a lawsuit, you take a photograph of what the car looks like.
True, but at the time it happened, I didn't even think about taking it to court, you know.
So what do you want me to do?
Actually, I just want to get my couches back, and she
doesn't have your couches.
She does have them.
No. She told somebody, she put your couches out along with all the other property. You said you came by, you didn't come by that night because you'd been drinking. You came by the next day, you took some of the things that you wanted. She says, she called all of her friends and says there's a bunch of junk outside. If you want to come and get it, you come and get it. Maybe her sister wanted the junky couches. She came and got the couches.
She has no right to give things away. That's not hers anyway, so...
Yeah?
She shouldn't have did that in the first place. That's not right.
Just a second. You shouldn't have given away the couches if you gave them away. I'm telling you. She shouldn't have. What were you doing at the motel?
Just partying, whatever.
Really? The night before, this happened on the 15th of July. On the 14th of July, where were you?
I was there at the apartment where we lived at.
Yeah. Did you have dinner together that night?
Sure.
Do you have children?
Nope.
Do you have children?
I have one.
How old is your child?
He's 12.
Does he live with you?
Yes.
Oh, I have 2 children, but not with her.
So you have 2 children?
Yes, I do. I thought you meant if I had some with her.
No. Not with her.
No.
And not with the person you were in the motel with, I assume.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So, did you tell Miss Rodriguez that you were going to spend an evening in a motel with somebody on the 15th?
Nope.
Why not?
We were having troubles at the time. We were breaking up.
Really?
So,
when did you tell her that?
I never told her. It just things were happening.
Mr. Oliveira, you have no pictures of your car vandalized. So I can't tell, A, if it was vandalized at all, and B, whether she did it.
She did do it. I just thought she would come up to it and say that she did, because she knows she
not.
did.
And as far as your property is concerned, she called you and said to you, oh, by the way, you still living in the same apartment or the same house?
I moved out.
And you didn't move back into that place, did you?
No.
Where did you go to live?
At my friend's house, or the night that
At
she came and
Jacob's
broke in.
house?
Yes.
You still living there at Jacob's?
Yes.
No, you're not, Mr. Oliveira?
I am.
Full time?
What do you mean full time, Mom?
You sleep there all the time?
Yeah.
Every night?
That's where I'm staying at now.
Uh-huh, right. So you paying any rent to Jacob?
It's not, well, it's not actually his house, it's his mother's house. But
Oh, really?
yes.
So you have your own room there?
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Hare, you were a tenant of the defendant's. Did you rent a room from him?
Yes.
According to your complaint, he unceremoniously threw you out after you had paid your rent for that month. He kept your security deposit, and he threw your stuff out after you. So it was destroyed on the curb. The defendant says you got drunk as a skunk while watching a football game. There was some betting going on, small-time betting, $5 anyway. When one team lost, and I know nothing about football except that they run around bases, that you went absolutely crazy. They don't run around bases.
Football,
No, I
they
know
run
that.
around there.
I know. You destroyed the house, damaged his property, bit him a couple of times. He's countersuing for the damage you caused to his property, for the assault on him, these bite marks, for broken glasses, etc. So, how long did you live with the defendant?
Almost 2 months.
Now, this incident happened on, it must have been a Sunday because it was football, is that
Correct.
right? So, you were betting on a game, there was a bet, little
The
bet?
Rams.
The Rams.
I knew they were going to lose, and they did.
Now, you had been drinking that day?
All of us had.
So you had paid for how much of
I
the
had
month?
prepaid 3 weeks for November's rent.
How much was the rent per week?
$75.
Is that right, so far?
$75.
Had she prepaid any part of November's rent?
No.
No.
No, no, ma'am. No,
Was she
Your
up
Honor.
to date on her rent?
She was 2 weeks behind.
Do you keep rent receipts?
Oh, he kept them when he moved all my stuff out.
Well, you
Otherwise, I
don't.
have proof. I have no proof of anything.
All right, but proof is what we need in court.
Big time.
Big time. Okay. So you're watching the game. It's October 28th. The Rams lose like you knew they would lose. Everybody was drinking, including you. So what did you do?
Somehow we had a confrontation in which...
Who had a confrontation?
Me and Mr. Darnsborg.
What do you mean somehow?
Well, I don't know exactly how it started, but I do
Well,
know...
maybe if you don't know how it started, maybe he knows.
He does. Well, I'm sure he'll find a way to... You know.
Well, maybe he does. How did it start?
The Rams lost, and
Which was devastating to him.
she won the bet, which was $5, and she got real excited about it. She started jumping up and down, doing obscene gestures in front of the TV in front of me. And she jumped from one couch to another, jumping on people, all excited, bit a person before she jumped on my friend Eddie here. He said she slapped him or something like that, and then she leaned over and bit me right here. That's
On the
how
leg.
it started.
On the leg.
On the leg.
She wasn't angry.
She was happy.
She was happy.
Real
But
happy.
shh, hey, please. She was happy, but drunk.
Happily drunk.
What happened next?
Some kind of way she had spilled a beer on top of the stereo and knocked it over. Okay, that's when things really got excited. That's when I got mad.
You didn't get mad when she bit you?
I was furious then, and I got up, and that's when she got up, backed up, spilled the beer on the stereo, knocked it over. I don't remember exactly what I did at that instant, other than I eventually got over and got a rag and wiped off the stereo. I'm furious because I have a picture of it. The top of it is exposed. I paid good money for that stereo set. And people started getting up and walking around. You know, everybody's mad. This gentleman that's with her went into the restroom at the time, and she ran in there after him. That's when he said, I thought she attacked him. I think she did. He lost his step, fell down up against the wall. It's a mobile home, so the walls are prefabricated. And it was like a fight in there. So that's when I got up, grabbed her, pulled her into the living room, threw her on the couch, really. Tried to calm her down, and that's when Jim came out of the bathroom.
That's Jim. You're Jim.
Yes, screaming to her to leave, and then they left. This is pretty much what happened.
Okay, so they left. And you changed the locks?
I changed the locks. She stayed. She was gone that night, and she apologized and thought everything would be okay. Said she messed up. Tried to give me and my friend Jim Robert a hug, and she did. But we just didn't want to do anything. I knew what I was going to do right then. And that was to go pick up 15 brand new boxes, box all their stuff up, quite a bit of stuff. I'm talking about she had boxes of and clothes of things 3/4 of the way up the wall.
What'd you do with it all?
I put it on the street.
Did you call her and tell her you were doing that?
No, no, ma'am.
Well, why not?
I didn't feel a need to. I feel she's a criminal. I was afraid that she would possibly accuse me of something else. I had called the police earlier about removing her because she walks around the house with a glass pipe smoking and acting crazy from time to time.
Oh, my.
I asked the police what I should do about it, and
Don't tell me
they
what the
wanted
police
me.
told you. I just want to know. You put her things out on the curb, boxes
ma'am.
and boxes,
Yes, ma'am.
and you'd never called her to tell her that you were doing that.
No, ma'am.
Now, there came a time, Miss Hare, that you did, in fact, retrieve some of your property from
Yes.
his house.
Yes.
When was that?
When I came home from work that night.
You found what?
His friend Robert informed. I drove right past my belongings as I pulled into the mobile home park, not even seeing it. His friend Robert stopped me and says, "Jenny, I got something I got to tell you. I feel I'm the best one to show you." And he turned me around and showed me there's all your belongings. They're on the street. If I didn't notice Jimmy's lamp, I wouldn't have noticed anything. And right then I was dumbfounded.
And you stayed there with your stuff?
Robert, his friend, stayed with my stuff. He made sure that nobody messed with my belongings. He said he sat there all day making sure nobody stuff.
Really?
Yeah, his friend Robert's a very nice guy.
I'm not Robert.
Oh, your friend
No,
Robert.
that's Eddie.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what kind of belongings do you say were damaged or taken?
Oh, the things that he didn't put out on the curb.
Like what?
My Ryobi drill, a hand cordless drill.
What else?
An umbrella, which is sentimental value.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the receipts, yes, the receipts that he failed to put back with my belongings. My pull-up bar, I know he still has in his backyard because I have driven by. I know that it's still there.
You what?
My pull-up bar. It's a workout bar.
Do you have her pull-up
It's a
bar?
parallel bar for doing pull-ups.
Pull-ups.
It's still there.
Do you want to give that to her?
Oh, yeah, she can pick it up 8 times
You have
a
a
night.
drill of hers?
No, my friend Robert, which I didn't know he was doing it, he felt for what he was doing, he wanted to be compensated. He did take the drill and the umbrella.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Virginia Hare says ex-roommate Paul Darensborg kicked her out after an argument over a football bet. Paul says a drunken Virginia was acting crazy.
Did you bite him?
I might have. Mm-hmm.
May it cost you a drill?
That's why I figured, well, I won't get the drill back in working
You're
order
certainly
anyways.
not.
Mm-mm.
And you have no proof that you paid
The
rent?
receipts. My witness here has seen my receipts.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
You know all the dates on the receipts, sir?
Oh, I don't know the dates, but I did see the receipts.
Well, of
I
course
do
she
know
kept
that they
receipts. She
were
was there for months.
rent receipts.
2 months.
Yeah, she was there for months, but she has no receipts into November. You didn't remember any receipts from November?
No.
I don't.
So we have no proof that you actually prepaid rent. How much was the security deposit?
$150.
Good. Now you want to tell me about your counterclaim? Your counterclaim says that she just threw stuff on your stereo.
Yes.
Did you have it fixed?
No, I haven't had it fixed.
Do you have pictures of it?
He
Yes.
had pictures of him and the lady over there on top of the stereo unit when the drink got spilled. And then when I heard that he says, I broke a stereo, well, why aren't the pictures wet?
You don't remember.
This is the pictures of stereo, and this is the wall and the door to the bathroom.
Well, to the bathroom.
Did you break the door to a wall in his bathroom as a result of an altercation that you were having with her?
No, ma'am, I never. And I don't believe she did either.
Well, you don't remember either. Step up here, please. Your last name is?
Crafton?
Did you see the plaintiff bite him?
No, I never.
Was she out of control?
She was a little wild, yes, I would say, but so were the rest of us.
Was she out of control?
I wouldn't say out of control, no. I would say she was feeling pretty good, yes, like the rest of us. But I'm sure she knew what she was doing.
She doesn't remember what she was doing. She just told me that.
Well, I know that I did not do anything purposely.
You may not have done anything purposely, but if you damage the property, you got to pay for it. Got to compensate him for it. You have a counterclaim. Let's say it gets nothing, except I have to figure out whether or not she gets anything back from her security deposit. So you're saying that there was damage to your stereo, but you have no receipts for it. Is that right?
No, I have no receipts for the purchase
And she
of the
damaged the
stereo.
door, which you didn't have fixed.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and you have no estimates for the
Yes,
door?
I have one estimate on
so
the
then
door.
I'd like to see the estimate.
But if I had money, Your Honor, to get the stereo fixed and to get this door fixed, I wouldn't be renting a room.
Listen, if you don't have an estimate, I'm not telling you to get it fixed. I can't tell how much it was going to be to have something fixed unless I have an estimate.
It's ruined. It was saturated. You can't
Well, I
spill
don't know
that
that.
much
Get
fluid
an
on us.
expert to come in and testify to that. $175. So that covers her security deposit. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. So the only thing I have to decide is whether or not you had a right to throw her out of the house unceremoniously. I believe that you did. I believe that she was acting in a totally bizarre manner, and that bizarre behavior may have been the result of liquor. But you don't have to tolerate that in your home. She was a month-to-month tenant. You threw her out. Property went. She got all of her property back. You boxed it. The only thing you didn't get back was an umbrella and a drill, which Robert has. He doesn't have it. He has your pull-up bar, which he will see to it that is returned to you. You caused damage to the door, $175 worth, so you get no security back. However, the security was $150. The damage to the door is $175, so you're only down $25, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have any medical bills, any doctor's reports as a result of the bites
No, I
on
don't,
you?
Your Honor.
Okay, so you get $25. Don't get drunk. People look stupid when they get drunk, that's all.
Party's not excused. You may step out.
I'm just happy that she's out of the house.
Last pipe, what is that? You know, he had to make me look bad somehow.
I think everybody should be very careful on who you rent a room to.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Potts versus Lake. Step forward, please.
24-year-old student Jamie Potts and her husband Marvin Potts are suing her brother, 23-year-old Shay Lake, for a year of unpaid rent and for the cost of a van.
Mr. and Mrs. Potts, the defendant is your brother, is that right?
Yes, yes.
And your brother-in-law.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, your brother moved into your home. And there was an agreement that he pay $60 rent, which would cover his rent, his food, utilities, etc. He paid that for a while and then stopped.
Yeah.
You want him to pay for 26 weeks of rent that he owes. In addition, you sold him a van for $500. He was to make payments on that van until it was paid off. He took the van and made a couple of payments, but still didn't complete paying for it.
Correct.
When did your brother move in?
He moved in with us 8 months ago in April. He had a job, a full-time job, and he was paying us like he was supposed to. And then he was laid off, from what I understand, what he told me, he was laid off. And he just stopped paying us.
Where are you living now?
With her still.
What are you doing here?
Well, Your Honor, the reason that he's still living with us is because we had a house fire. And right now we're staying at a hotel, Holiday Inn Hotel. So we're not paying for rent right now. We're not paying for mortgage.
As soon as we go back to the house, he's not allowed
He's
to go
not
back to
gonna
the
come
house.
back with us.
He's fine as far as we're supposed to be back in the house in 3 weeks.
You're living in the same motel?
No,
It's
we
two
have
rooms.
two different rooms.
It's 2 rooms. He's in
He
together.
shares a room with our children. We have 2 children, and there's 2 beds in each room, and they're together. And he shares a room with them, and we have the other room. And we didn't want to just, I don't want to just kick him out without, without any place to go. He's my brother.
So what are you suing him for?
We've told him
Because-
that as soon as we back, he's not allowed back in the house.
I don't care
Once
whether he's
we're back in
allowed back in the house or not. If you're angry with... Well, let's get to the van. Let's forget about this. Did you take their van?
Yes, I did.
Do you drive their van?
Yes, I do.
In whose name is the van?
Mine.
So you had a title to you?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do a bill of sale for this van?
No, we didn't.
Why not?
Because he's my brother. I didn't think I'd have to. When you have family, you expect that your family is going to do what they say they're going to do. And the reason that he says he's not paying us for the van is because he gave me a car when he was 16. He had his license taken away, but he's lived with us.
He
so
lived
I don't.
with us after that for about 6 months, rent-free, while he was having problems with his father.
defense to the van is what? Why didn't you finish paying for the van?
I never started actually paying for the van. When I was 16, I lost my license, so I gave
How old are you now?
I'm 23.
Go ahead.
And I gave my car to my sister, and she never paid me for it, so when she gave me the van, I figured that was payment for the car.
Well, Mr. Lake, was it ever discussed that you were going to pay $500 for the van?
Briefly, yeah, a little bit.
What do you mean briefly?
It was discussed a little bit, but not too much. I mean, she's my sister, so...
Just a second. Either she said to you, listen, you gave me a car 7 years ago, so I'm going to give you this old van. Or she said to you, I will sell you the van for $500. And you said, okay. And she gave you the van and signed the title over to you. Which one was it, Mr. Lake?
She did tell me that I have to pay her $500 for the van.
There you go. So you made up in your own mind that 7 years ago you gave her your car, so this was a fair swap.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, you can't do that. I mean, that's ridiculous, right?
Not as far as I'm concerned, no.
Why not as far as you're concerned?
Well, I still gave it to her, no matter how long ago it was.
Oh, but it makes a big difference,
And it was
sir.
worth more than the van that she gave
But it
me.
makes a big difference, Mr. Lake. The big difference is if you had said to her, no, I believe you should give me the van because of the car I gave you 7 years ago, and then she had a choice. And her choice was to say, no, I want to be paid for this. Oh, yes, you're right. You were nice to me once, now I'm going to be nice to you.
Well, then she might not have given it to me, so
Right, so you tricked her.
yes.
But he does this to me all the time. He's my little brother.
Look, Miss Potts, you don't get any rent from him. Let me explain something to you.
We have a contract written up.
I don't care whether you have a contract or not. If your brother stops paying you rent, and he stopped paying you rent 5 months ago, and you still let him stay in the house, that's your problem.
Okay, he's not
Do
staying in the
not
house.
visit that on courts.
He is not staying in the house.
No,
He was staying in the house until there was a fire.
But Your Honor, there is more to it than that. You have to understand. After he got laid off from his job, he had surgery on his ankle because the doctor told him that that could be the reason it's bothering him. He was in an accident in '97, and he had pins removed from his ankle. So that was, that took a month, and then after that, he got a job and he was fired from it.
That's why we didn't kick him out, because he was trying.
There was always something. We didn't just say, okay, you got to leave. This is not something. He's my brother.
Good.
He always had a reason why. There was
Fine.
always
Good.
reasons.
He has been told that he had to.
Don't bother me over the rent. You have a cause of action with regard to the car. What year car was this?
It was like an '87.
You have title to show me?
89.
I didn't bring it with me now.
He has everything.
Well, how do I know you even sold him this van?
He admitted to it.
I don't believe him necessarily.
You don't believe it?
He just told me he tricked you into giving him a van that I have no. You have the registration for that van?
Not on me now.
You have your driver's license?
Yes, I do.
Let me see your driver's license. Don't you usually keep registration with your driver's license, Bird?
No, Judge, I keep my registration in my car.
Oh, do you? Where's your van parked, sir?
In Michigan.
And is that where the registration is?
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh. Is your van insured?
No, it's not.
So how can you be driving around in an uninsured vehicle, sir?
Very carefully.
Very carefully. I'm going to take care of this very, very easily. The court will prepare an order that within 5 days you will retitle the van to your sister, and that way she can register the van if she wants to, and she can insure the van. So the court will prepare that order. That gives you 5 days. Clear? The rest of your case is dismissed. That's all.
Các em thân mến, cô chào mừng các em đến với bài học ngày hôm nay của cô nhé. Ở bài học này thì cô trò chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau giải quyết một bài toán, đấy là biểu thức gồm các thừa số là hiệu của 1 trừ đi 1/2 nhân với 1 trừ 1/3 nhân 1 trừ 1/4 và đến số 1 trừ 1/100. Ở đây các em biết này, ở đây chúng ta thấy là 1 ở đây chúng ta sẽ viết được dạng là thành, để giải quyết bài này chúng ta sẽ biết 1 ở đây sẽ là 2/2 đúng không? Ở đây sẽ là 2 trừ 1/2 đúng không ạ? Cái này chúng ta sẽ nhân được 3 trừ 1/3. Ở đây sẽ nhân được, đây 4 là sẽ 4/4 là sẽ 4 trừ 1/4 nhân cho 100. Ở đây cô sẽ viết một số đằng trước nữa, 1 trừ 1/99 thì sẽ 99 đúng không ạ? Trừ 1/99 và ở đây sẽ là nhân với 100 trừ 1/100 đúng không ạ? Và ở đây chúng ta sẽ thấy được rằng B ở đây sẽ bằng, ở đây sẽ là 1/2 nhân cho 2/3 nhân cho 3/4 nhân cho tiếp tục sẽ là 4/5 nhân cho ở đây sẽ là 98/99 và ở đây sẽ nhân 99/100. Ở đây khi viết thì các em sẽ thấy là phép nhân của phân số chúng ta sẽ gồm tử số nhân với mẫu số, 1 nhân 2 nhân 3 nhân 4 nhân đến nhân với 98 nhân 99. Chúng ta sẽ phân từ 2 nhân 3 nhân 4 nhân đến 9 và nhân 100. Ở trước này chúng ta sẽ nhân với 98 luôn để chúng ta dễ nhìn. Đó. Ở đây chúng ta thấy là phân tử số và phân mẫu số gồm có các thừa số giống nhau. Ở đây 1 là không giống, 2 giống chúng ta bỏ được này, bỏ được, và đến đây 98, 99 phân 100, vậy thì ở đây sẽ bằng 1 phân 100. Và kết quả của bài toán này chính là 1 phân 100.